A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Jerry of the Circus. For Jerry of the Circus.
Morning, Whitey.
Morning, Jerry.
What's the first thing to do today?
Oh, there's not a lot to do. Sit down in this bale here and visit a spell while I fix up this harness. That's the boy.
I didn't know you had to take care of the harness, too.
Well, it don't as a rule, Jerry, but my blacksmith's not feeling so good, so I told him to take a day or two off. He's pretty well caught up with his work. There's just a little shoeing to be done.
Today?
Mm-hmm. We'll get to that in a little while. What do you know, Jerry?
I know I had an awful scare last night.
A scare?
Yeah. I thought I lost my keys, but Rags had them, and he buried them under the wagon. And I was looking all over for him, and then Rags started to dig under the wagon where he always buries bones, and sure enough, he dug them up.
Well, now, that was lucky, wasn't it?
I'll say it was. There's one key on my key ring that's really important.
That's so?
Uh-huh. It's a key to a safety deposit box my father had. Patsy's going to help me find out where it is.
Don't you know what banks the box was rented in?
No, that's what we have to find out.
Sounds like a pretty big order to me, Jerry, but maybe Patsy knows what she's doing. Oh, there now. That's fixed.
You going to do some horseshoeing now?
Yep. Get Dolly, that roan mare there, and bring her out.
Okay, Whitey. Is this her?
Yeah.
Nice, Dolly. Oh, girl. Come on, Dolly. Come on. Gotta get some new shoes, Dolly. Come on, girl. Here we come, Whitey.
That's the boy, Jerry. Bring her right over here. Oh, Dolly. Oh, girl. Now, put a little more heat on this shoe.
Isn't she going to get a whole new set of shoes?
No. One of the hustlers said she had a broken shoe back here. Yes, that's all she needs. Yeah, we'll get that attended to, all right.
You going to fix it?
No, I'm going to put a new shoe on. There's one on the fire here.
Sure is fun to watch you shoe a horse.
You never see it done before, Jerry?
Oh, sure, lots of times, but I never get tired of watching.
Oh, Dolly. Oh, girl.
Just right, isn't it?
Yep. There we are, Dolly. All set.
Shall I take her back now?
Yeah, put her back in her place, Jerry.
Come on, Dolly. Come on.
Better pay a visit to Splendor while you're down there, Jerry. I think that coal kind of looks forward to your coming in here every morning.
Okay. Here, Dolly. Come on now. Come on now. Nice girl. That's the girl. There you are. All fixed up with a nice new shoe. Hello, Splendor. Here's my pal. Say, Whitey, you think maybe Splendor will be a jumper?
If he takes after his ma, he will.
Remember, Whitey, you said I could try and teach Splendor a few tricks.
It's okay with me, Jerry. I don't guess you'll spoil him. You seem to understand horses pretty well.
Will you help me?
Sure thing. Get me someday when I'm not busy, and we'll put this little fella through his paces, all right.
Oh, you like that, huh, Splendor?
Seems like he knows what we're talking about. He'll be a high school horse if there ever was one.
What's a high school horse, Whitey?
Oh, a high school horse is a highly trained one. One that can do all sorts of tricks and take commands and not get excited out under the big top with a lot of people around.
It means he's educated, huh?
Yeah.
Those high school horses are certainly clever at dancing and fancy steps.
Yeah, but don't forget those broad-back ring horses are pretty smart, too.
Why is it most of them are white?
Well, there's several reasons for that. In the first place, they can be seen from a greater distance when they're working in the show.
That's a good reason. What else?
Well, when they take the shedding, the white hair doesn't show on the white costumes most of the riders wear. When a dark horse starts shedding, they can sure mess up a costume pretty fast.
Golly, I never thought of that.
And then, too, the rosin doesn't show so much on a white horse.
Do you put rosin on them?
Why, sure, Jerry. Didn't you know that?
What do you do that for?
So the riders won't slip off when the horses are galloping around the ring. The rosin makes good footing on their backs. You see, Jerry, the back of a horse is pretty slippery to be jumping around on.
I'll bet that's why you call them rosinbacks.
You're right that time. All the horses used in the rings are called rosinbacks for that very reason.
Maybe someday I'll learn all there is about a circus. But there sure is a lot to know.
Yes, sir. There's a lot to it, all right. Folks that just go into the big top to see the show never stop to realize how much work and care it takes to put the whole thing complete. Oh, it's a great big business, Jerry.
Yoo-hoo! Anybody in there? It's Patsy, Whitey.
Come on in, Patsy. We're back here with Splendor.
I think she wants me to go to the bank with her now, Whitey.
Okay, you can go. Be sure you do your watering before the matinee, though. You can't let any of these horses go thirsty.
I'll water them as soon as I get back.
Morning, Whitey. Think you can spare your helper for a short while?
Sure thing, Patsy. Take him away with you. But be sure you bring him back. This department wouldn't function right without Jerry.
Bye, Splendor.
You and that colt are getting along fine, Jerry.
We sure are. So long, Whitey. See you in about an hour.
Okay, Jerry.
You know, Patsy, I'm going to teach Splendor some tricks.
You are?
Uh-huh. Mr. Randall and Whitey said I could.
That's fine, Jerry. Sometimes I wonder just what you are going to turn out to be around this circus.
Sometimes I wonder, too. It's also interesting. It's hard for me to make up my mind what I want to be.
Looks like we're not too early, Jerry. Pay window over at the office wagon is open. I guess Jim Bennett's paying off.
There's no one in line there.
Maybe we're the first one.
Hey, there's Jim in the window now.
Morning, Jim.
Morning, Patsy and Jerry.
Are you paying off yet?
It's right here for you. Come and get it.
Is my pay ready, too?
Sure is, Jerry. Now, you two are the first ones to put your hands out today. Hey, what's the matter? Afraid there wouldn't be enough money to go around?
Oh, no. We're not worried about that. But Jerry and I are going over to that bank across the street. We've got big business on.
Well, fine. Let's see now. Here you are, Patsy. There. That's your well-earned money.
Oh, thank you, Jim.
And now for Jerry. There you are, son.
Thanks.
And don't forget, part of that money belongs to Rags. He worked for it. So I guess you better give it to him.
Oh, yeah? If I gave it to him, he'd bury it under the wagon.
Say, I see the bandages off your head, Jim. That bump all healed now?
Good as new, Patsy. Guess I've got an iron head, all right. Say, Jerry, heard from your Uncle Dan lately?
Not yet, but I guess he'll be writing to me soon.
Well, when you answer his letter, send him my regards, will you? You might tell him all is forgiven.
I sure will.
I feel sorry for Mr. Dugan. He surely went through a lot with Lorenz all those years.
Yeah, that was a bad deal, all right. But I guess he's lucky to be alive at all after that fall off the train.
He'll be out of the hospital soon and well and strong again.
Yes. But he'll never be able to get those years back that were lost to him when his memory went bad.
Mr. Randall is going to give him some kind of a job with the circus when he gets well.
Well, that will be some help. I'd like to see him get back in his old business of hunting wild game.
Maybe he'll do that later, Jim.
Yeah, you never can tell.
Well, I guess we'd better hurry over to the bank, Jerry. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Goodbye, Jim, and thanks.
Okay, Patsy. Goodbye.
Good morning. Can I help you?
Why, yes, sir. I'm with the circus, and this is Jerry Dugan, also with our show.
How do you do, young man? I'm glad to know you, young lady. My name is Ross. I'm the cashier. I'm mighty happy to be of assistance to you.
Well, I don't know if we're going to be able to solve this problem or not, Mr. Ross.
Problem?
Yes, sir. Jerry and I would like to check on a safe deposit box key.
Our key from one of our boxes?
No, that's just it. We don't know what bank the key is from.
Well, that's a problem, all right. Have you got the key with you?
Yes. Let Mr. Ross see the key, Jerry.
Okay. Let's see now. Here it is. That little one there.
It is the safety deposit box key, isn't it?
Yes, that's what it is, all right. But there are no markings on it other than this number, 7C4321. Your key, son?
Yes, sir. It was my father's.
His father isn't living.
Oh, I see. And you'd like to find out where this box is located?
Yes, sir. We thought there may be something in it that Jerry should know about.
Didn't your father ever tell you about the box he'd rented in some bank?
No, he didn't. I didn't even know it was a key for a safe deposit box until Patsy saw it and told me about it.
Well, now, looks like there'll have to be a little work done on this, because this key and ours aren't at all alike. Must be made by a different lock company.
Isn't there any way we can find out?
Yes, there is. We'll do all we can.
I think Jerry should know what's in that box. Don't you, Mr. Ross?
By all means. The very fact that his father kept a safety deposit box proves there must be something of value in it. Do you have any other relatives, Jerry?
No, sir.
You have your Uncle Dan.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
You forgot about your uncle? I bet he wouldn't like that.
Well, Jerry only found him last week. I guess his uncle is new to him.
I see. No other relatives?
No, sir.
Well, in that case, I think you'd be the only one that should have access to the box. It may contain something that will have a bearing on your future life, Jerry.
Well, how am I ever going to find where the box is?
There must be some way to trace this key, Mr. Ross.
I have a suggestion to make. I don't know for sure that it will work, but we can try.
What's that?
This bank belongs to a clearinghouse association, and it might be that if we sent the key into their headquarters, well, there's a slight chance that one of the banks that belongs to the association might be using the same type of key in their safety deposit vault.
Well, how will that help?
Well, in that way, we could find out just what lock and safe company made the key.
Well, then we could write to them and try to trace it further.
That's it exactly.
Well, will you send the key into the association for us?
I'd be very happy to.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Ross. You're very kind. And now I'd like to get a cashier's check.
Fine. I'll get a blank.
Do you think you'll be able to find out where the box is, Patsy?
I don't know, Jerry, but I do hope so. There may be something in that box that's awfully important to you.
Dragnet. Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. A pair of hold-up men have been operating in your city. You know their method of operation. You know what they look like. Your job, get them.
It was Wednesday, June 8th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 10:14 a.m. when we got to the corner of Roberta and Mercury, the after-hours cafe.
Yeah, what'll be?
Would like to see Harry Prentice?
Yeah, I'm him. What do you want?
Police officers. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh, all right. About last night, huh?
Yeah. Were you here?
Yeah, sure was. I'm the only one's got a key. Place is open. I'm here.
Yes, sir. Now about the robbery?
Yeah, sure. What do you want to know?
Oh, would you tell us what happened?
Should have read the papers this morning. All about it in there. Got a couple of copies if you want to see them.
No, that won't be necessary.
No trouble at all. Happen to have a couple of copies right here. Yeah, here, take a look right here. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, I'll read it to you. Last night at the After Hours Cafe, we should give him the address. At the After Hours Cafe, 2 gunmen held up and beat Jeffrey Hanks. The victim was approached outside the bar, and when asked for his money...
Yes, sir. Now, we saw all that. We'd just like to hear your version if we could.
Oh, okay. What do you want to know?
Did you see the men?
The gunmen?
That's right.
Yeah, sure. I told the other cops I did. Gave me a description and everything.
Uh-huh. You notice anything about their speech, an accent maybe?
No. I asked them what they wanted. One, a big one, he ordered a scotch and a rocks. The other one asked for plain grapefruit juice, no booze, just the juice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lucky I had it. Got a couple of cans in for vodka drinks. Don't get a lot of call for it. Guy drank all I had.
Mm-hmm. When did the victim come in?
You mean Hanks?
Yeah.
Must have been about 8:30, someplace in there.
Mm-hmm.
Walked in, sat down.
Had you seen him before?
No, brand new face.
Mm.
Nice-looking guy, though. Kind you like to have for regulars.
That's all?
Yeah, quiet, good drinker. Doesn't bother the singles at the bar. Nice, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I had a place full of them. I wouldn't have no worries.
How do you happen to get mixed up with the other two, do you know?
Yeah, you mean Hanks?
That's right.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't paying a lot of attention. Poured him a martini, left him alone.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine, lady type, was here. Was talking to her. Her and her boyfriend been having trouble. We belted her around a little bit. Not bad. Couple of scratches. You know what I mean.
I think so.
Well, she was asking me what to do. We've been friends for a long time, since I opened the place. Anyway, we was talking, so I didn't see what happened.
Yeah.
All I know is that the 3 of them got up and moved to the booth in the back. Ordered another round.
Uh-huh.
I hardly got the drinks back to the table, and they was ready for another one.
Go ahead.
Kept running from the bar to their table for the next couple of hours.
You hear anything they were saying?
No, not much. The one who was drinking scotch, he got a little plastered and loud. Told him a couple of times to shut up. Said I'd have to 86 him if they didn't.
Yeah.
Kept it up, so I told him to leave. Didn't take it kindly.
How do you mean that?
Well, it started to get rough, telling me that they didn't have to take no guff from a barkeep.
No.
Well, I told him I wasn't drinking the grapefruit juice. I told him to get his friends out. He says, we're not causing any trouble. And I said, that's the way I want to keep it.
Uh-huh.
So he said for me to leave him alone, and I said to the grapefruit, I said for him to leave right then. I don't want you in my place, I said.
Yeah.
Well, and so Scotch on the rocks, he said, tell this cat to go hide his head. Like that, he said. And turned the bear loose. Well, I grabbed the both of them, threw them out through the door. O-U-T.
Yeah.
And I went back for the other guy, nice-looking one. He was pretty gassed by then. Had about 8 martinis. Asked him to leave. He did.
Yeah. Did you have any trouble with him?
No, sir. Just asked. He walked out.
Were the other two outside when he left?
Yeah, standing on the sidewalk. I told him to shove off or I'd call the cops. Old Scotch on the rocks. He said for me to go soak my head. Well, I was going after him, but I figured it wouldn't do no good, so I came back inside. A couple of minutes later, the nice guy, Hanks. Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, he came in, all beat up, close to him, real mess.
Yeah.
Big cut right along here, forehead. Said he'd been robbed, wanted me to call the cops.
Had you ever seen either of the two men before?
You mean Scotch and rocks and Griffin?
That's right.
No, never did.
Why don't you take a look at this description, see if it's right. Here.
Yeah, sure. Glad to help her. Yeah, that looks about right.
Is there anything you can add to it?
No, just a couple of guys. Nothing about them that stand out.
Would you know him if you saw him again?
Hard to say, you know what I mean.
Yes.
A couple of guys came in and ordered a drink. Nothing special. Not sure I could point them out for you. Anybody'd forget them.
Not quite.
Huh?
We won't. $11:30 a.m. We left the bar and went back to the city hall. We checked with the stats office and picked up the results of their latest run. They listed 4 possibles, but when we read the names, we were no closer to the hold-up men than we had been. The names were ones that we checked and cleared before. Frank and I went back to robbery. There was a message for us to see Captain Donahoe. We went into his office.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. No, as far as I know, there's nothing new on it. That's right. Uh-huh. They just came in. What? All right. I'll let you know right away. Yeah. Bye. Come on in.
Skipper.
Captain, that was Chief Brown. Been calling all morning.
Yeah.
You know what he wants? What do I tell him?
Well, we talked to the bartender. He can't give us anything.
What about the victim?
Not much there either.
Able to come up with a name?
No, said he didn't hear anything.
That's a big help.
Well,
Sit down.
thank you.
Cigarette?
Yeah, thanks, Skipper.
Smith?
Yes.
I got it.
Thanks, Joe.
From the beginning, what do you got?
Well, good M.O., good description. We got an idea of the line they're working, and that's about it.
What about stats?
Just picked up the new run, 4 names.
What's on them?
Clean. They all been checked before.
Got to be something around town on them.
Well, there should be, but there just isn't.
How about your informants?
No, they haven't been able to tell us anything.
Straight?
No reason they should lie.
Victims and witnesses seen the mug books?
All we got. They haven't been able to come up with an identification. Burton up at CII sent all the stuff he's got on the method of operation. We've checked it all through.
What about the places they could spend the money?
Well, we've been to Gardena half a dozen times. There's nothing out there.
What about Vegas?
Talked to the department over there. They're giving us all the help they can, but they haven't turned anything yet. We even got the racetracks covered.
Possible you missed something?
Sure, it's possible. I don't know what it could be.
If you knew, you wouldn't have missed it.
Yeah.
From the beginning, go over it.
Okay. First report was made on, wait a minute. Got it here. Here it is. Tuesday, April 26th. Victim came out of the bar. 2 men stopped him, started a conversation, got him into a car, beat him, and robbed him.
6 weeks ago.
That's right.
And the guys are still running.
Next one was on Friday, April 29th. Same M.O., same description.
How often has it been happening since?
A couple of times a week.
You can't find a leak?
No, sir.
No rumbles?
None that we haven't run down.
Anybody in the office got anything?
We talked to Meade and Stromwell. I thought they had it made for us, but their lead didn't go anyplace.
That money they're getting isn't sitting in their pockets, being spent someplace.
We can't find the cash register.
I'll tell you this. The fellow they nailed last night, what's his name?
Pippa Hanks.
Yeah. Well, he's got some friends in the city hall. They're pretty upset about what happened. Called the chief this morning. He's been on me. I'm giving it to you. He won't be happy with excuses, and I don't want to give him any, so don't hand me any.
Right.
Boils down simple. I don't care how you do it. I don't care where. Just get it done. I want those 2 men, and I want them fast.
All right.
I know how it is. Now you do, too.
Yes, sir.
I don't like the pressure any more than you do. We're getting it all the way around.
People that are making the noise should follow us around for a couple of days.
That's the difference. They don't have to.
Huh?
You're getting paid.
Frank and I went over every piece of information we had on the case. We reread the reports that had been filed by the officers at the scene. Statements from witnesses and victims were gone over again. The names the stats office had given us were run through R&I again. None of it did any good. We still didn't have a lead to the identity of the thieves. 3 days passed while we talked to informants and questioned other sources of information. On Sunday, June 12th, we got back to the office from talking to a bartender out on Olympic Boulevard.
Well, that's another one didn't go anyplace.
Yeah, you want to get the book?
Yeah, I'll take one.
I got it. Robbery Friday. Uh-huh. Yeah, Jack. Yeah, where's the place? Hmm? Wait a minute. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I guess the word's all over. Yeah. Okay, we'll check it out. Thanks, boy. Right, bye.
There's nothing in the book. They called, want to know if you could make it for dinner tonight. Got a barbecue plan.
You better call it off.
You got other plans?
That was McCready on the phone. He just got a call from a bartender out in Wilshire.
Yeah?
Woman crying in her beer. Says he figured we want to check it out.
What is it?
She said her boyfriend is one of our suspects. The bar Sergeant Jack McCready had mentioned was on the corner of Wilshire Boulevard and Ingram Street. There were 2 people in the place when we arrived. One, an elderly man sitting near the door, and the other, a middle-aged woman at the rear of the bar. We checked with the bartender, and he told us that he'd made the call. He went on to say that the woman had come in about 10 that morning. Since that time, she'd been crying and mumbling something about going to the police. Frank and I went back to talk to her.
Yeah? You looking for something?
I understand that you want to talk to the police.
What's that got to do with you?
Well, my name's Friday. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
How you do?
You're cops, huh?
What do you want to see us about, lady?
That bum Derwin, that's what it's about, bum.
That's his name, is it? Derwin?
Yeah, real no good. Look what he done to me all the time, hitting me. I think we was married all the time.
What's his last name, do you know?
Holbrook. Derwin Holbrook. You like to buy me a drink?
I think you had enough of that, lady.
Well, that's where you're wrong. I'm supposed to show you don't know what you're talking about. And then you wanted to me at all, you haven't caught Derwin, none.
What's he done?
Hold up.
Ma'am?
Hold up. That's what he's done all over town. Old Derwin's been holding people up.
See your husband?
Me? Derwin's wife?
That's right.
That's real funny. Now, that is. Me and Derwin married. I don't think I wouldn't do it. Not for a minute, don't think it. But it ain't true. Not at all. No, sir. Derwin is just a friend.
Uh-huh.
Been a friend for 12 years. That's a long time.
That's right.
Been holding hands for 12 years. But we ain't married. You don't want to.
Will you tell us about the holdups that he's been pulling?
Been in all the papers. Oh, you haven't read it? All the papers. Are you sure you were cops?
Why don't you tell us about Derwin?
Lousy. All the time. Talking about how someday we'd get married. All the time. Talking like that. I got a couple of bucks put away and we'll take the big step. That's what he was all the time saying. It was a big step.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened? Here's a couple of bucks and he takes off with another girl. Lousy bum there was. Just miserable.
Now, where'd he get the money?
Hold up. Like on the paper. I told you that before. He's the one you're after, beating up all those people in front of bars. He's pretty good at beating people up, you know. He's good at that. Not much else, but he's real good at that.
You ever talked about the holdups to you?
Oh, now, that'd be kind of silly, wouldn't it? Talking to anybody, let alone me.
Well, how do you know he's involved?
Well, just because I know, that's all.
What's this fellow look like?
The Derwin?
That's right.
I guess the person would say she was a real nice-looking fellow. I guess that's what you'd say. I would.
Mm-hmm.
He's got dark hair. Kind of a little wave right here. You hear? See?
Yeah.
In front. Little wave.
Mm-hmm. How tall is he?
Oh, he's a big one.
Well, how tall?
About 6 feet.
Mm-hmm. How much does he weigh?
I don't know. I guess a couple of 100 pounds.
Is he fat or thin?
Kind of thin. Thin.
Mm-hmm. How old is he?
38. 38 years old. 2 years older than me. 2 years.
What color are his eyes?
Brown.
Has he ever been arrested? I say, has he ever been arrested?
I don't know. Maybe he has. He's never said nothing to me, not a word.
Want to run it through?
Yeah, I'll check.
You gonna arrest him?
We'll talk to him.
Yeah. You do that. You tell him from me I think he's a bum. For 12 years, you didn't tell me when he gets a couple of bucks, we take a step. Then he runs out with another girl, lousy Derwin.
You know where we can find him?
I don't know. I guess he's home. I don't know the place else he'd be. Home.
Mm-hmm. You have the address?
Sure. It's 1827 half Margot Street.
What's that?
Can't you hear very well? 1827 and a half Margot Street.
Okay, I got it.
Hillside 75321. That's where he lives.
Hillside 75321.
That's what I said. On the second floor, Margot Street.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any close friends that you know of?
Sure, the girl he walked out with. She's a close friend.
Any men?
Nope. Sure don't like nobody on his back. He likes to be alone. No fellas he's close to. None.
John.
Yeah. Excuse me a minute, lady.
Yeah, sure, you go to head. Tell the bartender to have another drink now.
What do you got?
Oh, I checked R&I on Holbrook.
How's he stand?
Found a couple that fit the description. One of them might be good.
Oh.
Done time for robbery.
Do you owe anything?
No, got out clean.
Wonder if he stayed that way. Frank and I left the bar and drove over to the Margot Street address. We checked with the landlady. She told us that Holbrook had moved in approximately 6 weeks before. She went on to say that he'd been behind in his rent, but that he'd paid what he owed and had given her the money for an additional 2 months. She said that she didn't know what he did for a living. He had few visitors, and the landlady couldn't tell us if he owned a car. According to her, he was in his room. Frank and I went up to see him.
Here it is.
Yeah.
You said?
No. Derwin Holbrook?
Just a minute.
What do you want?
Police officer.
Hey! You got no right to bust in here like this. There's nothing wrong.
Then you won't mind if we look around, will you?
Oh, go ahead. You won't find anything.
I'll check it, Joe.
Yeah.
You tell me what you want, maybe I can give you a hand.
You just sit still there.
Sure, I got nothing to worry about. Tear the place apart. Just make sure you put it all back.
Yeah.
Right where you found it.
It's clean, Joe.
I could have told you that.
Sure you could.
Want to let me know why you're rousting me?
You work for a living?
Why?
Do you?
No.
Well, we hear it. You're doing pretty well with the money.
I guess you'd say that.
You mind telling us where you got it?
Wise investment.
That's it, huh?
Sure. I read the financial page all the time. A couple of bucks here, a couple more there. First thing you know, you're on your way to $1 million.
Yeah, well, the way it came to us, you might have made the money the hard way.
Whoever told you that's a liar.
So?
Sure. I got a pretty good idea who's got the big mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make any difference. You can't tag me for anything.
Why don't you tell us?
I will. You're beefing about the money. Well, you can't say I didn't make it from investments. I don't have to prove it. You do.
Mm-hmm.
You got to prove I didn't make it from investing.
I think we might be able to.
Go ahead.
I'll give you something else.
What?
I don't think you're going to like the interest. We took Derwin Holbrook back to the city hall and talked to him. For over an hour, he refused to admit any part in the holdups. We made arrangements for the victims to come down and see him. Witnesses were asked to special show-ups, but they failed to give us a positive identification. Holbrook's name came up on the overtime sheet, and he was released from custody. There was nothing we could do. Another week went by. Holbrook was kept under constant surveillance. Monday, June 20th. Frank and I were in the squad room.
Righty? Smith?
Yeah, Skipper, we're here.
Hi, Captain. What do you got? Your boys did another job last night out in West L.A.
We didn't see the reports.
Just came in. Got a meeting with Orma this afternoon. Be there.
Homicide?
Yeah. Victim died without regaining consciousness.
Any description of the suspect?
Enough to know it's the two fellows you're after. How's your hot suspect? What's his name? Holbrook?
That's right.
Be able to keep him this time?
No, I don't think so.
What's the matter?
Report says the holdup took place at 10:15.
Yeah?
Holbrook was asleep at 9. We rechecked with the team of men who'd been keeping Derwin Holbrook under surveillance. They verified the fact that the suspect had been in his room at the time of the robbery and that there was no way for him to have left the apartment. We went out to the hospital and talked to the officer that had been with the latest victim. He said that the dead man hadn't said anything to help identify his assailant. We talked with the bartender at the place where the beating had occurred. He remembered two men in the bar, and he remembered them talking with the victim, but he was unable to tell us anything more. Additional broadcasts were gotten out. At the meeting with Captain Lorman, it was decided that from that point, the investigation would be a joint operation between robbery and homicide. After the meeting, Frank, Captain Donahoe, and I met back in room 27.
Come on in. Sit down.
Yep.
Well, you heard it. Yes. How are you going to work it?
There's only one way, rolling stakeout.
Thought you tried that route.
This time we used more cars.
Better work. This latest one's really got the corner pocket screaming. How are you going to set it up?
Well, that job out in West L.A. is the first time he's moved out of Central. I think we can figure he'll be back.
That's playing it the long way.
There's nothing left.
I'll buy it. How's it going to work?
Can we take a look at the map over here? He's been hitting in this area along here. Up to now, we've had it covered in through here and here. Now, we can put additional cars on these streets and maybe over here, huh?
How about a check system?
It'll be kind of hard to work out, Skipper. We'll be in a three-way car. McCready and his partner will be in one. And that way, we can keep tabs on what's going on.
When do you start?
Well, if we can swing it tonight.
Talk to McCready?
No, not the whole thing. We went over part of it.
What's he think?
He goes with us. It's the only way.
Then it better come through for you.
Hmm?
You don't get another chance.
At 7:20 that night, the rolling stakeout began. It continued for another week. Several arrests were made, but when the suspects were checked, they were ruled out as the ones that we were looking for. In the meantime, the hold-up men hit twice more in the area under surveillance. Bartenders started closing their places early. Pressure from citizens groups and newspapers got a little worse. Apparently, there was nothing we could do to stop the thieves. Tuesday, June 28th. We stopped for something to eat.
Now it's going to be another long night.
I hope we get something out of it.
Yeah. Howdy, fellas. What'll it be?
Well, a couple of eggs over easy. I get it. A side order of bacon.
Well, thank you. How about you? That sounds good, Joe. I'll have the same. Only make my eggs straight up, will you? And I'll have a side order of ham.
Righto.
And 2 coffees. We bring them right away?
Sure thing. I'll get them for you right now.
Listen, I got to get home.
I'll have a cup of coffee. I'll drop you off.
Wife's going to be sore if I don't make it pretty quick.
Well, let her be sore. That's the trouble with women today. All the time trying to run our lives.
That's right.
Have your coffee. We'll meet my friend. You'll like him.
I feel so good. Maybe I ought to leave now.
Look, you'll be all right. Just take it easy.
Joe. Mm-hmm. Tall guy. Fits the description. Yeah. Looks like he might be setting one up.
Let's check it.
If I give you any trouble, stay with us. Some you want?
What if you let us take a look at your identification?
Why?
Because I asked you.
Who are you?
Police officer.
Watch out.
Come on.
Shoving me around.
What's all this about? We didn't do nothing.
Now, don't worry about it. You got nothing to hold me on. Nothing.
We'll talk about it downtown. Come on, let's go.
What's your charge? You got to make one.
Come on.
You got to make a charge. You can't take me without it.
All right, try suspicion of robbery.
Not for me.
You keep believing that, fella.
I will. You're out on a limb, cop. You got nothing. I'll be free in a couple hours.
You got it wrong.
Tell me about it.
We won't have to.
Huh?
We'll let the jury do it. We took the suspect back to the city hall. He was identified as Emmett Noonan. He refused to admit any part in the holdups. He wouldn't tell us who the friend was that he'd mentioned to the intended victim. A check of R&I revealed that he'd served sentences at San Quentin and at Folsom for armed robbery. We pulled his mug shot, and a team of detectives went out to check with the victims. It was an hour before they got back to the office. We talked to him, and then we went to see Noonan.
Decide to turn me out now?
No, not quite.
When are you going to give up, cop? You got nothing to make a charge on. You know it. I don't know how long you want to play this game, but I'd like to get home and get some sleep.
We just got word from the officers who checked your picture with the victims.
Yeah?
They gave us a positive identification.
Nothing different about me. Lots of guys look the same.
Why don't you come off at noon? We got you made and you know it.
I don't know anything of the kind, cop. You're saying one thing, I say different. It's my word against yours. We'll see who the court believes.
We got a head start.
How do you figure that?
Fits the way you work.
Any record I got, you can't mention in court. As far as they're concerned, I'm clean. You want to call it a day? We can all get some sleep.
What do you do for a living, Noonan?
I'm a salesman.
What do you sell?
Different things.
Name them.
Magazines, sometimes hosiery. Different things.
Yeah, when's the last time you worked?
6 months ago.
How have you lived since then?
I saved my money.
You know, you're in for more than a robbery charge.
I'm not standing that.
Man out in West L.A. died.
That's too bad. I didn't see anything about it in the papers. Only way I'd have known.
Who was the guy with you on the job?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know, we'll get to him. Why not save yourself a lot of time?
I don't know nothing of the kind. You guys are out of your scopes.
All right, Noonan. Let's go.
Now you can unlock the door?
Yeah, this one.
Where are we going?
Main jail.
For how long?
Until they pass sentence.
You sound pretty sure.
We are. Come on.
It's too bad about you guys.
What's that?
How long you been working on these robberies?
A couple of months.
And I'm your pigeon.
You're the man.
Must make you feel kind of lousy. Be so sure and then find out you're wrong. You know, if I keep my mouth shut, you aren't going to have a case.
You know, fella, I'm going to tell you real simple. We can identify you positively. We got a dozen people who are going to get up on a stand and point you out as the man who knocked them down and walked on them. The time we get through with you, we'll have enough on you for a 5-minute deliberation.
You're ruling out one thing, cop.
Yeah, what's that?
The jury. All I need is one person who won't go with the rest of them. One who doesn't listen.
You got it all figured, haven't you?
Sure. One person doesn't care, I got it made. Just one.
Well, then you're in real trouble.
Huh?
We'll find 12 who do.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 19th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Further investigation resulted in the arrest of Jerome Nathan Pollock as an accomplice in the robberies. Both he and Emmett David Noonan were tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. The jury failed to return a recommendation of leniency, and both men received the maximum sentence. They were put to death in the lethal gas chamber at the State Penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
Dragnet is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Contact Novak For Hire. That's what the sign outside my office says. Contact Novak For Hire. Or you can set it to music or put it up in neon. But down here on the waterfront in San Francisco, you're too busy staying alive to worry about the next guy unless he's pointing a gun. Most of the time, you got as much chance as a flypaper fly on infernal flight. But it works out. Oh, I rent boats and do anything else to keep my stomach and my conscience running even. It's like juggling hot marbles on a high wire. But it's a living. You haven't any more kick coming than a swimmer diving into an empty pool. I found that out last Tuesday night. I was sitting in my office after dinner, watching the fog stream through the gate and wrap up the bay for the night. Up on Russian Hill, the lights were just going on in the $1,000 a month apartment, and right away you got a picture of warm rooms and cold martinis. I think I was feeling sorry for myself, so I started to page through an old address book full of bad breath and tired memories. I was getting over to the page, and the regrets were piling up around my knees when the phone rang. Novak, Sergeant.
This is Father Lee, Sergeant. Are you busy?
Yeah, Father. Carrying up old phone numbers.
Are you reforming or angry?
Neither one, Father. They just wore out.
You sound sad, Sergeant. Expect them to last forever?
Nothing's that good. What's on your mind?
I want to ask you a favor.
Make it a small one, Father. I'm all out of big ones.
It's a small one, Sergeant, for you.
Yeah, another customer told me the same thing, Father. His brother was on the way to the chair. He wanted me to smuggle in some rubber underwear.
I'm asking, Sergeant, not saying.
Okay, Father. What do you need?
Can you see me in about an hour? Right after the evening rosary?
When's it over?
Oh, about 8:30. But don't be afraid of coming early.
No, I'll take a rain check on that, Father.
That's what Noah's friends used to say. I'll see you at 8:30.
It was a little before 8:30 when I started up the steps to Father Leahy's parish church. I figured the services were over, so I hung around in the vestibule for a couple of minutes, trying to look like a part-time bell ringer. The last few people straggled out, and then an altar boy came out and gave me the high sign. He was a clean, Irish-looking little kid with a face the size of a minute and just about as young.
Are you Mr. Novak, sir?
That's right. You the lookout?
I'm an older boy, Mr. Novak. My name's Jake Siegel. Little first father called me.
Yeah. Now, where's Father Leahy now, Jake?
Back in the sacristy, Mr. Novak. So I could wait inside me.
No, this will do. I'll wait right here.
Listen, Mr. Novak. I'm sorry. Father said to be sure and bring you inside.
Okay, little Jake, lead the way. I was too busy trying to act like I knew my way around to pay much attention to a fat, chunky little guy when he stood up in the back pew a couple of aisles over. Little Jake seemed to take trouble in the air.
Mr. Novak, sir. What you doing?
All right, women, they just play out there on a second.
Jake, get down.
Mr. Novak, look out, look out!
Down on the waterfront, you learn early to look for trouble, any place, any time. You can find it at the top of the marsh or at the bottom of the bay. But this is the first time it caught up with me in the middle of a church. The lead got as thick as confetti on New Year's Eve. I spun around and I made a dive for little Jake, but I wasn't soon enough. He went down like young wheat in a hailstorm. When I grabbed for him, I must have hit my head in the base of a marble pillar or something, and things got dark for a minute. I stumbled down the aisle and into the street after the guy, but the odds were all on his side. The fog was so thick you couldn't read a newspaper with a crude light. I guess I covered every alley and street in the neighborhood, but it was like running after a hatful of feathers in the middle of a windstorm. Oh, I don't know how much later it was when I stopped for a minute in an empty doorway and I tried to remember what I was chasing. A siren was crying somewhere in the distance, so I started back for the church. The coroner's wagon was just pulling away when I got there, and Father Leahy had disappeared. I saw a light in the rectory, so I went upstairs and rang the bell. He came to the door in his shirt sleeves. He just stood there for a minute looking at me. Then he motioned me inside. You want to see me, Father?
Yes. In here. Sit down.
The kid, Father. Little Jake.
What do you think?
Yeah. He goes fast?
Instantly.
I'll get the guy, Father.
I'm not asking that, Patsy. I'm not asking you for anything anymore, unless I need trouble.
No, somebody told you a bad story, Father. That wasn't my gun.
I should have known better than to call you. I should have known it meant trouble. It's your middle name, Patsy. You're married to it.
You're looking at the wrong man. It wasn't my party.
I called you here tonight to ask you a favor, Patsy.
Anything you want, Father.
It's too late now. We were going to have an altar boys picnic tomorrow at Paradise Cove. I wanted to borrow one of your boats. We won't be going now, Patsy. We've got a funeral instead.
Yeah. What do you want me to say?
Don't say anything, Patsy. Just listen for a minute. I asked you to come up here tonight, but I didn't tell you to bring your friends. If you've got any private fights with those waterfront hoods, that's your business. But don't bring your beast into the church.
And I tell you, I never saw the guy before. I don't know anything about it.
He was shooting at you when he hit little Jake, wasn't he? What else am I supposed to think?
Yeah. We'll find him, Regan.
Nothing else for you to leave, Patsy.
I like you better without the temper, Father.
And I like you better before your hands got dirty, Patsy. I warned you about that waterfront crowd, the cheap thugs, the cheap women. I told you, Patsy, roll around in dirt long enough and some of it's bound to stick to you. Got it all over your face and your hands, and it's working inside you, Patsy. It's working in deep.
That's the end of the sermon, Father?
I tried to warn you, but you had to figure. Well, figure this one, Patsy. There's a 9-year-old kid on his way to the morgue. He stepped in front of a bullet and saved your life. Now go ahead. Figure.
Yeah, I will, Father. But you better be on call when I catch up with the guy. He's going to have a lot of praying to do. When I left Father Leahy, I checked in at the church for one more look around. A couple of red-faced Irish cops in uniform were wandering around the vestibule trying to look at home and chewing gum like mad to kill the beer on their desk. And over in one corner, half a dozen old women had their heads together, clucking like hens over a square egg. Outside of them, the place was deserted. I gave the court a quick rundown. A couple of aisles over, where I figured the gangster must have passed, I picked up a match book. The ad on the front said match joint, Cicero, Illinois. And there was a phone number scrawled inside the cover. I was just about ready to toss it away when a bell rang, and I took a closer look. It was my phone number. I put the match book in my pocket, and I started home for the apartment. Maybe the cab wasn't going fast enough because halfway there, 3 years' stock of headache caught up with me and the ceiling started to jump. Oh, the cab driver was kind, though. When we got to my place, he offered to help me as far as the curb for an extra $4. By the time I made it to my front door, I was feeling lower than any man of an Irish weight. The reception committee didn't help much. They were short and dark, all three of them, with rows of loose, oily fat where their necks should have been, and small pig eyes that squinted through the cigar smoke rolling out of wide nostrils and up their faces. Hiya, Novak. How do you feel? Lots better after you found the door. Hey, Jack. Novak don't like it. He'll cultivate a case. No, they don't build stomachs that strong. Be nice. It's easier that way. Now, look, Buster, I don't know who you three pigs are. Novak. Remember, be nice. Yeah, I remember. You West Coast punks are all alike, Novak. Couple of taps and you cry. Ain't that right, love? Maybe Novak's tired, fellas. Up him into a chair. Yeah, Novak. Sit down. Blood wants to say something. All right, then say it and get out of here. We want the gun, Novak. We want the papers that go with it. Sounds like a great puzzle. Sorry, I can't help with the answer. You better tell Rod, Novak. It's liable to get rough. All right. My gun's over there on the desk and the papers on the wall. Be nice, Novak. Just once more, Novak. Where's the gun and where's the papers? Look, I'll spell it for you. I don't know what you're talking about. All right. That's Mac. Get his arm. Yeah. All right, hold his head up. Yeah. Okay, lad, there. This the way they do it in Cicero? Last time round, Novak. The gun and the papers, where are they? I don't know. The gun, Novak. The papers. No use, boss. We lost it. All right. It's a big flaw. Let him find his own way back. A long night for summer. When I woke up, the sun was bleeding through a rip in the blinds, and there was a funny smell in the room. My stomach felt like a piece of practice work at a Boy Scout class. And then the room got noisy.
You wake up slow, Novak. Have a hard night?
Oh, you're never on time for the party, are you, Hellman?
I'm choosy, Novak. I don't like your friend.
All right, then take up social work. What's the occasion?
I got a phone tip. Thought I'd drop up for a visit.
You having fun?
Yeah. There's a gal in the kitchen bored to death.
Huh?
Take a look.
Look at hard. Who is she?
Sally Kimball. That's what her driver's license says. Your friend of yours?
How would I know? Even her mother couldn't tell.
Nice stuff, isn't she, Novak? Must have been a rough party.
I wouldn't know, Hellman. I closed early.
At your joint, what happened?
I said I closed early. 3 junkies were drinking my scotch when I got home about 10:30. They were anxious about a gun and some papers, and they figured I could put them straight. I couldn't, so they laid me out. Now tell me how sorry you are.
I bleed for you, Novak. Now let's have it straight.
That's as straight as you're going to get it, Hellman. If it's not exciting enough, try Esquire.
You talk brave for a funk in hot water.
I'm not going to scream till it burns.
Then you better start practicing, Novak, because I'm going to burn you.
You better hurry, Hellman. Your pension's catching up with you.
Watch your mouth, Novak. You're not talking to your gentle friend.
Now, that's hard to tell, Hellman. You both use the same technique. Now, show me the warrant before I start charging you rent.
That dame's body is all the warrant I need, Novak. Now talk. How did she get so dead?
I told you once. Pick up the 3 gunsels and ask them.
What they look like?
Like you. The size smaller. They're from the east around Chicago.
What else?
They wouldn't leave their birth certificate.
Go ahead, smart boy. Get in all the laughs you can. But don't ask me to con the parole board for you.
Oh, I don't know, Hellman. You won't be there. Maybe I'll like prison life. When you're knee-deep in the rain and your boots spring a leak, you might as well throw them away and take your chances barefoot. Hellman and his boys left with the body, and I grabbed a handful of aspirin and a cold shower. Then I started out to look for the only honest guy I know. An ex-doctor and a boozer by the name of Jocko Madigan. A pretty smart man until he found out you can poison your worries at $4 a fifth. I finally found him sitting in the middle of a bourbon fog in a little Spanish joint somewhere on the edge of the Excelsior district. He was down at the end of the bar trying his best to make time with a plaster bust of Queen Isabella.
Pepsi, you're just in time for a short one. Bartender, hand me that vase.
Come on, Jocko, sober up. I got to talk to you.
Pepsi. Here's to your own peculiar brand of happiness.
Jocko, will you cut it out?
Pepsi, I don't mean to be rude or ungentlemanly, but I don't think I altogether approve of the clientele in this place.
Yeah.
This woman next to me, Pepsi, the one with the stony gaze, she's been here ever since I came in. And I don't mean to be uncharitable, but I think she's the picture of a perfect boy.
All right.
Patsy, to a member of the old Castilian school, there can be no excuse for the conduct she's exhibited. Why, do you know I was even good enough to buy her 3 rounds of Portuguese brandy, imported, mind you. But what do I get for my pains? Not even a civil thank you.
All right, Jocko.
I've been sitting here in the most gentlemanly way, sipping this delicate nectar in great mouthfuls and trying to keep the party going. But does she help? No. I've talked to her about politics, medicine, literature, Keats, Byron, Shelley, Nick Kenny. I even talked about the weather.
Jocko, she's a statue.
She's a simple oversight, Patsy. Might happen to anyone.
Listen a minute, will you? I'm in trouble.
You're always in trouble, Patsy, and that's the way you'll stay till you find some kind of moral rudder. You've got to find direction instead of trying to be so righteous in an evil sort of way. Get in tune with our decaying civilization. Like me, Patsy. Why tempt the fate? It's much more practical to buy off your destiny with a good fifth of Irish whiskey.
You are through, Jocko?
Yes. What kind of trouble this time?
3 gunsels from the east. They're shooting up the town, and I'm running front for their murder rap.
Patsy, why not plead guilty? The rest might do you good.
Somebody shot a 9-year-old kid, an altar boy.
Oh. Where did that happen?
Inside a lady's church. The guns were slipping loose for somebody else and started shooting.
Problem's getting bigger, Patsy. What am I supposed to do?
I want you to check on a guy by the name of Mike Quinlan. Also a girl, Sally Kimball. Tagged by the Examiner and the Chronicle morgues and knows around the horse parlors out on Eddy Street, will you? Find out everything you can.
Well, all right, Patsy, but you've broken up a beautiful party. You've disillusioned me about Queen Isabella here, and I've suddenly grown dreadfully thirsty again. Let's have 4 or 5 for the road, shall we?
Later, Jocko, we haven't got time.
Well, only if you say so, Patsy. But every time I leave the hallowed confines of a barroom, I'm a poor pilgrim caught up in the vices of the crass everyday world. A tattered orphan leaning disconsolately against the bitter winds of chance, tossed and buffeted about endlessly by the cruel storms of fortune. By the way, I'll need car fare.
All right, here, half a buck.
Patsy, refreshment.
Later, now get going, will you, Jocko?
Where can I find you?
I'm going to check by my office, and I'm going to see by the ladies.
Well, as soon as he mentions taking the pledge, that's your cue to leave. Good night, lover.
When I left Jocko, I caught a cab downtown, and on the way, I started hunting for just a piece of the answer. But all I got was questions. Who were the 3 generals, and what was the stuff they were after? Mike Quinlan, where did he fit in? And that dead girl in my apartment, who did she belong to? Well, the zeros were piling up faster than flies on donuts when the cab pulled up for a stop sign at 16th and Mission, and a little guy with a worried mouth and a loud sports shirt jumped in. His lips were wound around a phony kind of smile, like a head waiter just before he hands you the check for a big party.
It's okay, driver. We're friends.
How are you, mister? Friendship comes easy for you, mister. You got a name?
Batiste, Novak. I want to talk.
You got until the next corner.
We both mean it, Novak. Me and the judge.
Now, look, Junior, if you want to play the heavy, go find a melodrama.
Who are you working for? Sandell?
That's as good a name as any. All right, here's your corner.
Charlie Kimbrough. Where is he, Novak?
You're fast with a question, mister. Let me ask you one. Who's Sandell?
I got the gun, Novak.
Yeah, now who's Sandell?
I'll do the asking. You sit there and make the answer.
Oh, you're running out of tickets, Junior. Come here. All right, now reach down for that gun and I'll slam you through the floorboard. Who's Sandell?
It's Chicago hood. He's out to get me. Works both ways.
That's a good plot. Now, who are you?
Mike Quinlan. All right, now what about Charlie Kimbrough?
They mopped her up off my kitchen floor this morning.
Somebody's going to get Sandell.
Maybe we're on the same train. What's he look like?
Fat men all look alike.
All right, you can leave any time now.
Sure, Novak. Fare's getting high. See you later.
Faster than a Mexican divorce. The black sedan pounded by on all 12, and Quinlan folded up like a playpen in a high wind. We tried to follow the car, but it would have been easier to win the Kentucky Derby on a pogo stick. So I went back to the corner where Quinlan was still hugging the cement. He was draped over the curb like a tired carpet, and if his suit was a brighter yellow, he could have passed for a loading zone. Hellman was there with all his relatives in uniform, so I told the cabbie to drive on. I just couldn't seem to shake the picture of little Jake when he went quiet in that shirt. Well, when I got close to a phone, I paid off the cabbie and I put in a call to Jocko. I called Newton at the Examiner morgue, and he said that Jocko had just left, so I called Breen. I asked for the guy who was drinking the cheapest whiskey in the tallest glass.
Council Madigan speaking.
This is Novak. How'd you make out?
Let me tell you about these packet newspaper men down here. Men of high birth, Patsy. True breeding. They like Scotch almost as much as I do.
What'd you find out about Quinlan?
My Eddie Street informant tagged him as an ex-con, Patsy. Sent up for armed robbery in 1940 and paroled about 2 weeks ago from Joliet. Quinlan had a few dealings with a man named Lud Sandell. From what I can gather, Quinlan's supposed to have taken the rap for Sandell and his brother.
What else?
Quinlan is a local boy out of Bernal Heights. He has a sister, Patsy. She belongs to Sandell. She's probably the only sales girl in town with a 6-room apartment in the best part of the marina.
You get the address?
Bayview Towers, down at the foot of Fillmore Street.
Sounds good.
Maybe she has a friend.
Did you get anything else on Sandell?
The Third Street bed tells me he's active instead of a slot machine route. I gather he's the pushy type.
Thanks, Jocko. I'll see you at the apartment.
Oh, Patsy, on your way home, pick up something for dinner at the delicatessen, will you?
There's stuff in the icebox. Fix yourself a sandwich.
Patsy, dinner without bourbon is life without hope. I'll borrow from the neighbors. Good night, lover.
Avenue, and I headed down into the marina. The rancher box was still stuck with questions, and little Jake Spiller held a 4-lap lead, but at least the field was getting thin. I figured it was 1 out of 3. Sandell or either one of his Guntels, but which one? So when I got down to the foot of Fillmore Street, the fog was thicker than ankles at a fat lady's convention, and the foghorns out beyond Yacht Harbor started on overtime. The Bayview Towers was one of those swanky, new-looking places that gets old in a hurry. It saw lots of brass and brunettes during the war, but now the only uniform left belonged to the doorman. I found Quinlan's sister in the penthouse apartment. And when she opened the door, she felt like Clyde Beatty with a broken chair. Her lounging pajamas reminded me of a good butler. They came in and went out at the right places, and they stayed close to the job. I felt like the fifth boy after somebody blew out his candle.
Oh, talent on the loose. Want to come on?
Yeah, it's free time. My name's Novak. I got some news for you.
I'm Bobby Quinlan. Look what's so fast.
I'm looking for answers, lady. If you want a companion, advertise. Your brother's dead. Sandell shot him.
My, such a big imagination, Mr. Novak. I don't give a lot. Here.
Look, I got fruit in my pocket, baby. You want the rest of this couch now?
That's been a Novak.
It's going to get worse with your brother gone. Take a look at the paper.
Good.
Yeah, you've been practicing.
Look at Anna's taxi. I can feel your heart pounding.
Yeah, now let's quiet down and talk murder, shall we?
You're hurting. You're hurting me.
Where's Sandell?
Please, Patsy.
Where's Sandell? Where is he?
In my arm, you'll break it.
Tear it off and throw it away. Now, where's Sandell?
I don't know. I swear I don't.
He killed your brother. He shot him down on the street.
Oh, he's dead, Novak.
All right, if you won't believe me, take a look at this Chronicle. Right there on the front page.
You're lying, Novak.
Look at it.
No. Sandell's gone. Promise he wouldn't touch Mike.
Why complain? Think how Mike feels. Now, where's Sandell?
He's down at the hotel. The Durban Arms on Eddie's Street. He lied to me, Novak. I told his place, but he lied to me.
Yeah, you're a mistake, baby. I'll see you later.
Don't worry, Novak. Party's just
Yes. Why'd you do it? You lied. You and Sandell, you promised me. And you killed him.
Somebody had to go.
Like that altar boy, huh?
Got it once. Back it's tough for the second time.
There's no second time, Jack.
All right, sweetheart. Now take him back.
Yeah. You finished even, baby.
Promise me. I've been wrong. You and Sandell. It's so much. Right? Hold me fast.
Sorry, baby. You make this trip alone. There wasn't anything I could do for them, so I took a cab down to the Durban Arms on Eddy Street, but Sandell had checked out an hour before. The clerk told me his baggage was still around, though, so I figured that could only mean one thing. I put in a call for Hellman, and then I grabbed the cab and headed for Father Lazy's. By the time I got up on the hill, the fog had taken a lease on most of the town. You can always tell when it's thick because all the sounds out in the bay get a free ride. Halfway there, the driver was ready to quit, but for an extra $2 he threw the cab in second, and we crawled the rest of the way till we got a block from the church. By that time, the fog was so thick you could have sold it for the pound. I did the last block on foot. I was just about 20 yards away when I spotted Sandell and Max the Gunsel standing under a streetlight just outside the door to the church. They waited a minute, and then they turned and started up the steps. Don't bother, Sandell. You called too late.
Huh? Who is it? Who's out there? It's a smart one, Lord Novak. Novak. Come closer. I can't see you in the fog.
Turn out and get me, Sandell.
There he is, Max.
You're flying blind, Sandell. You made the trip for nothing. I got the gun and I got the papers.
He's lying, Lord. Come on out, Novak. Make a deal.
I said you're late, Sandell. I already made the deal with Matt.
You're funny, Novak. This'll shut you up.
Not even close, Matt. Which one have you got the altar boy?
You sound worried, Novak. You want to tell him lot or should I?
Max deals a lot better than you shoot, Sandell. Ask him about it.
Huh? What's he saying, Max? He's saying nothing, Lud. He's talking crazy. Let's go out and get him.
Ask Mac about this afternoon, Sandell. Ask him where he was when Jack got it. Ask him how I got the gun and the papers.
He's crazy, Lud.
Not so sure, Matt. Don't be a sucker, love. Novak can't shoot.
Sorry, Matt. You took the chance.
He's turning you, Lud. He's wire. Good thing, Mac, but I can't chance. Oh!
All right, Sandell. Now it's just you and me in the fog.
Come on in, Novak. We'll work the deal. Come in where I can see you.
All right. It's 5 shots, Lud. You got one left to make good on. All right, Sandell, no even. Come here.
Let me go, Novak. Lay you off, Novak. What did I do to you? Cut it out with him. You didn't get hurt.
Talk to that altar boy, huh?
I didn't mean to hit the kid.
Oh, I'm sticking your mouth.
All right, Novak, that's enough. Novak, I said that's enough.
Yeah.
Let go of him. Here's Sandell.
Yeah.
A few minutes ago, we could have booked him for murder.
You can have him now, Helmut.
Saved the state some money, Novak. Next broker.
That you, Patsy? Over here, Father. On the step. Hello, Inspector.
Father?
It's the man, Patsy. Grandfather, that's him. I'll pray for him, Patsy. Why waste it, Father? He wasn't worth it.
They said the same thing about 2 men on a hill in Calgary.
The next morning, things got lots clearer for everybody. The story was the keeper at the time, but then so were the characters. After Mike Quinlan joined up with Sandell and his boys back in 1940, they pulled a bank job in Chicago. And instead of cutting in Mike on the case, Sandell framed him to hit the rap for the 3 of them. Then Sandell came west to operate and lined up Quinlan's sister for his girlfriend. By the time Quinlan was paroled, he was fast on Sandell's game, and he had lots to beef about. He lined up enough good evidence to put Sandell and his 2 boys away for life, and then he threatened to spill it if Sandell didn't cut him in for his share of the job and stay white of his sister. Sandell wasn't generous and he wasn't genteel, so he played along with his players' cheek and his gun in his pocket. When the time came to swap money for evidence, Quinlan took the church for a trading ground and he decorated it in the box with the evidence. That's where we finally found it. The deal was all set to go when something scared Quinlan off and Sandell came in, mistaking for Quinlan his quick little Jake. Sandell's boys tried to get at Quinlan through his girl, Sally Kimbrough, and when she wouldn't spill, they killed her and planted the body in my apartment to take care of the opposition. Snap and...
Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. A watch salesman tells you his sample case has been stolen. He says he knows the men who did it. Your job? Find them.
It was Tuesday, October 4th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief Detective Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We're on our way into the office, and it was 7:46 a.m. when we got to room 27A. Robbery.
I'll check the book.
All right. Got anything for us?
No. Say, took Faye to the movies last night.
Well?
Yeah, darn good double bill. Mystery and a comedy. Sure had me fooled.
What?
The mystery had me fooled. I never can figure out who done it.
Yeah.
It was this rich society girl.
Mm-hmm.
She lived in the penthouse, top floor, real modern kind of glass.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, they found her lying outside in the roof garden part, and the doors were all locked, and the police had to break them down to get in. As soon as they got in...
Yes, sir.
I'd like to report a robbery. Is this the right place?
Yes, sir. You want to sit down?
Oh, thanks. My name's Liggins, Russell Liggins.
Can you spell it, please?
Yeah, it's Liggins. Liggins.
Mm-hmm. This is Frank Smith. My name is Friday.
I'm pleased to meet you. How you doing?
I suppose you tell us what happened, Mr. Liggins.
Be okay to smoke?
Sure, go ahead.
You fellas care for a cigarette?
Yeah, thank you. Here, I have a light. Right. Thanks.
Thank you. Well, it was my own fault to begin with. It just wasn't using my head.
Uh-huh.
Company ought to fire me. I wouldn't blame them if they did.
What company is that?
Sentinel Watch Company up in Seattle.
I see.
It's a new outfit. They import movements from Japan and put them in cases over here and wholesale them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of their head salesmen. I came down for the Jewelers Convention.
I see.
The convention ended yesterday, and I was supposed to leave for home this morning, 9 o'clock plane. I guess I have to take a later flight now.
Yes.
Oh, of all the dumb stunts, practically handed him my sample case on a silver platter. Over 100 watches. Our best stuff. A lot of them in jeweled cases. Company wanted to make a good impression, you know?
Hmm. Where'd the robbery take place, Mr. Liggins?
Front of the hotel. For all intents and purposes, that is.
Which hotel is it?
The Greystone. That's where I've been stopped.
I see. Do you have any idea who robbed you?
The best idea in the world.
Yeah.
Spent a couple of hours with him last night.
Yeah?
You see, what happened is this. Like I said, the convention was over yesterday and wound up about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And, well, I had the whole evening ahead of me, nothing to do.
Go ahead.
I had dinner there at the hotel, a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
Stowed too early to go to bed, so I thought I'd look the town over, you know?
Mm.
Stopped by Pershing Square and listened to those characters spouting off, and along about 10 o'clock I headed back toward the Greystone. Passed the bar and decided to go in for a nightcap.
You remember the name of the bar?
No, I'm afraid not. It's just a couple blocks from the hotel, though. Had a nice little combo in there, played pretty good music. So I sat down for a while.
Yeah.
I guess I had a little too much to drink. Oh, I wasn't drunk or anything like that, but had my share.
Hmm.
It must have been a little higher. I wouldn't have got started talking to a couple of strangers the way I did.
Yeah.
They were sitting next to me, these two fellows. We got to chatting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was about music at first. They seemed to be enjoying it. One thing led to another, and they bought me a drink, and I had to pay them back, of course.
Yes, sir.
Asked me what line I was in. I told them I sold watches. Said I was in town for the jewelry convention. They took a real big, said that's why they were here, too. Claimed they had a jewelry store in Salt Lake City.
They mentioned their names?
Oh, sure. They introduced themselves, but it didn't sink in. Not their last names, anyhow. George and Paul. Yeah, that's all I can remember.
Mm. What happened then?
Well, they started complaining about the quality of the watches they'd been shown. Said they hadn't seen anything worth buying. Well, so I asked them if they'd looked at my samples, and they said they didn't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I offered to make an appointment to show them my stuff. Figured I could stay over an extra day on the chance of making a good sale. And they said that wouldn't be necessary for me, you know, to stay over. Said they could meet me this morning before I left for the airport.
So did you set up an appointment?
Yes, sir. I told them it'd have to be early if I was still going to catch my plane, and that was fine with them. The earlier, the better. They agreed to meet me at 7 a.m. They even offered to drive me to the airport. Couldn't ask for anything more than that, could I?
No, sir.
Well, anyway, I come downstairs about 6:45 and checked out, and they were supposed to pick me up in front of the hotel.
Yeah.
Well, about 5 or 7, they come by. I hopped in the car, and we drove off. We hadn't gone more than a mile or so, and they pulled over and parked. Quiet street, not much traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I asked them why they were stopping there. Figured on showing them my watches out at the airport. They said they wanted to look at them now.
What was that again?
They said that they want to look at them right now, you know, in the car.
The watches?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And it struck me as kind of funny. I didn't see where it would make any difference. And I opened up the case, and they just sort of glanced inside. And then one of the fellows, the one named George, he took out a gun, started shoving me through the door, and I tried to argue with him. I wasn't getting anywhere, though.
Pulled a gun, huh?
Yeah. And he, you know, kind of pushed me with it.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I asked him to please at least give me my suitcase. I said it wouldn't be worth anything to them, but I needed it. And they tossed it out on the street beside me and drove off.
I see. What about your wallet? Did they take your wallet, too?
Oh, no, just the sample case. I guess they were in a hurry, didn't want to spend a lot of time there in the street in broad daylight or something.
Oh, I see.
As soon as they left, I started looking around for a cab. Had to walk a couple of blocks before I found one. And then I got him to bring me right here.
Mm-hmm. What kind of a car did they drive, do you know?
The fellows that robbed me?
That's right.
Sedan. I think it was black. A Ford.
Mm-hmm. Did you get the license?
No, I didn't even think of trying that until after they were out of sight.
Well, now, can you describe these men for us, please?
Oh, sure. Well, they were about 40. Medium-sized. George had black hair. And the other fellow, he had sort of sandy hair. You know?
I see. Any marks or scars?
I don't think so.
How were they dressed?
Suits. Conservative. Blue or kind of gray, maybe. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Were they wearing the same clothes this morning?
Oh, no, I don't know. They had on top coats today.
I see. Now, you said their names were George and Paul.
Yeah, that's right.
Anything else that might help us identify them?
Gosh, I'm afraid not.
Do you have a list of serial numbers from your watches?
Oh, yes.
May we see it?
Yeah, it's in my wallet. Here, just a minute. There you go.
Oh, thanks very much. I'll get out of circular, Joe.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want from me?
Yes, sir. We'd like to have you show us the bar where you met these men.
Well, no, sir, I'm not sure I can. A lot of bars in the neighborhood, and I didn't pay too much attention.
You said they had a combo there?
Yeah.
Well, that ought to make it easier.
Well, sure do my best.
Yes, sir.
I have to get my airline ticket changed, too.
We'd appreciate it if you stay over a couple of days.
Oh?
In case we turn them up, we'll need you to identify them.
Well, there isn't much chance of that, is there?
What do you mean?
Well, the descriptions I gave you could be anybody.
Yeah.
Besides, the company will want me back on the job. That is, if they don't fire me for this.
Well, you know, you aren't the only thing I want back.
Huh?
I want those watches, too. Frank and I checked the M.O. and the descriptions Russell Liggins had given us with the stats office. They came up with 11 possibles. We took the names to R&I and pulled the packages. Liggins was unable to identify any of the mug shots. 10:13 a.m. We cruised the vicinity of the Greystone Hotel looking for the bar where Liggins had first met the suspect. He told us the Green Hat Cafe on 6th Street seemed familiar, but he wasn't certain. We left him in the car and we went inside to interview the bartender.
Look, you boys know me. I run a nice, clean place. Don't even cut the liquor.
Yeah, sure.
I ain't caused you no trouble. Why don't you lay off?
Just a couple of questions for you, Sam.
Sure. A couple of questions. Next thing I know, I'm testifying in court.
You got something you ought to testify about?
No, of course not. I'm just talking.
Well, then talk to us, huh?
Okay. What do you want?
You on the job here last night?
Yeah.
All evening.
All evening. I got a little combo working in the joint now. They cost money. There's nothing left over for extra bartenders.
You see that fellow out in the car?
Where?
Right over here, Sam. Lean over. See, out there.
Yeah, I see him.
Take a good look at him.
All right, I look good.
He ever been in your place?
Like when?
Last night.
The bar was real crowded last night. Music helps the business.
Mm-hmm.
He might have been here.
Well, yes or no, Sam?
Yeah, he was here.
Alone?
Yeah, he came in alone.
Mm-hmm.
He took that stool over there, had a few drinks, and left.
Mm-hmm. You talk to anybody?
He talked to me.
What'd he say?
He liked the music, that's about all.
Who else he talked to?
A girl sitting next to him.
Who was she?
Well, I don't know her name. She comes in once in a while, kind of nice looking.
There were a couple of men in here, too, weren't there, Sam?
Well, there were a lot of guys. Why?
Well-dressed, middle-aged?
Could be.
They talked to him, too, did they?
The fellow in your car?
Same guy, yeah.
Well, if they did, I didn't see him.
Had quite a conversation.
I didn't hear it. Music's pretty loud.
Who were they, Sam?
Look, I don't ask for a driver's license unless the guy looks like he's under...
Come on, Sam. Who was it?
He's Condy.
Hmm?
That friend of yours out there.
Yeah.
End stool, that's where he sat.
Uh-huh.
The girl was next to him the whole evening.
Well?
He couldn't have talked to nobody else.
We took Liggins into the Green Hat Cafe, and he said he was certain that was where he had met the two men known as George and Paul. Sam Huppel, the owner of the bar, was equally certain that Liggins was mistaken. 10:48 a.m. Frank and I drove Liggins over to the Greystone Hotel. While he went inside to re-register, we talked with the cab drivers who were stationed at the stand next to the main hotel entrance. One of them told us he had been parked there from about 6:30 until 7:15 a.m. that morning.
Thought I was never going to give me a fare. When it starts like that, the whole day's shot. Look at me now. Been sitting here for the last 25 minutes.
Uh-huh. Did you see a man come out of the hotel about 5 minutes to 7?
I was watching those doors real anxious. If he came out, I saw him.
Same fellow we just let on.
Oh.
You remember him?
Sure.
Did you notice the car he drove off in?
You kidding?
What do you mean?
This hack of mine.
Huh?
He was my first fare this AM.
You picked him up here?
That's right. Wasn't 5 or 7, though. Closer to 7:30.
Where'd you take him?
City Hall.
We went into the hotel and talked to the desk clerk. He told us that Liggins had been assigned the same room he had previously occupied, 417. He also told us that he was almost positive Liggins had not carried a sample case when he checked out that morning. We talked to the bellhop who had brought down Liggins' baggage. He said Liggins had only one suitcase. 11:13 a.m. Frank and I went up to room 417.
Come in. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's very kind of you. Oh, I'll be with you as soon as I get off the phone.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Well, a day or two, I guess, if that's all right. No, they didn't take my money. Thanks, I can manage. Oh, just one thing. Would you ask one of the girls to call my wife and explain the delay? Oh, thank you very much, sir. Bye. Well, I was just talking to the boss in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
He says it's all right for me to stick around a few days.
Good.
Now, you really think you can find those guys that fast, huh?
Well, we may not have to look for them.
What do you mean?
We've been checking your story, Liggins.
Yeah?
Leaks like a sieve.
Well, that lousy bartender, huh? You taking his word against mine?
No, we get more than the bartender.
Oh?
The cab driver says he picked you up here at 7:20 and drove you down to City Hall.
Well, he's crazy.
Didn't have it in person.
He must have picked up somebody who looks like me, that's all.
We talked to the bellhop who brought down your luggage that wasn't in the sample case.
I carried it myself. I wasn't going to let a bellhop handle something as valuable as that.
Mm-hmm.
He just didn't notice it, that's all.
The desk clerk didn't notice it either.
Well, I stood in front of his desk when I paid up. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys want from me?
Just tell us what happened to the sample case.
I've told you the whole story.
There was one thing you left out.
What's that?
The truth. We continued to question Russell Wiggins in his hotel room. He insisted that he'd been telling us the truth. We confronted him with the cab driver, the desk clerk, the bellhop. He refused to change his story. 1:05 p.m., we drove Liggins down to the city hall for further interrogation.
How much are the watches worth?
Wholesale or retail?
Both ways.
About 4,000 wholesale, maybe 10 retail.
A lot of money.
Well, sure.
The boss upset?
Well, he wasn't very happy about it.
He's insured, isn't he? Well, come on.
Yeah, I guess so.
Don't you know?
Yeah, he's insured. He said so over the phone. He told me not to worry.
You didn't know about the insurance before.
What if I did?
Maybe we better talk to your boss. What's his number? Come on, fella. What's his number?
Well, what are you going to tell him?
That you've been handing us a line about being robbed?
Well, you think I robbed myself? Is that what you're getting at?
What else can we think?
Oh, you're crazy.
Where are the watches?
Somebody stole them.
Yeah, George and Paul.
Look, okay. It wasn't George and Paul.
Go ahead.
I made it up. The whole thing about them. You know, the fellas. I had to tell you something.
Sure you did.
Well, you want the truth, don't you? Well, you're getting it. Least you can do is try to believe it.
You make it kind of hard to buy.
Look, I went into that bar last night just like I told you.
Mm-hmm.
And the bartender was right. I didn't talk to anybody except the girl sitting beside me.
Yeah.
Well, she said she came in because she liked the music. And I was feeling kind of lonesome. I don't know anybody in L.A., so we started to talk. Said her name was Barbara. Didn't give me her last name because she was married and she wanted to keep things on a first-name basis. And that was all right with me. I told her to call me Russ.
Yeah.
She said her husband worked nights, one of the aircraft plants. And I told her about my job, that I sold watches. She kind of laughed when I told her.
What about?
Well, it was a big coincidence. Me being a watch salesman, she was planning to buy a watch. Told me the one she had was ready to give up the ghost.
I see.
Then she showed it to me on her wrist. A real cheap kind, just a piece of junk.
Yeah.
Well, she asked me if maybe I could get her a new one wholesale, and I said I might be able to arrange it. Then I suggested she come up to my room and look at the samples I had there.
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't up to anything. I figured we'd have a couple of drinks, but that was all.
Sure.
Then she kind of hesitated, said it wouldn't look very good. And finally she agreed. We went over to the hotel, and I had a bottle in my room, and I fixed us a drink. And then I showed her the watches. She picked out the one she liked, but she didn't have any money with her, not enough to pay for it anyway.
Yeah.
And I told her she could have it for free. You know, as a present.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't an expensive model, and I was going to pay the company back out of my own pocket. So she took off her old watch, and she put it in her purse. And she put the new one on.
All right, go ahead.
And then she said we ought to have a couple more drinks, you know, to kind of celebrate the present. But she offered to fix it. Well, maybe she put something in mine, or maybe they were just strong. I don't know. Anyway, I don't remember much after that.
What'd you do, pass out?
Yeah, I guess so. Next thing I knew, it was morning, about 6:30, and I'd fallen asleep on the bed with all my clothes on.
Yeah.
That must be why she didn't take my wallet.
All right, what happened then?
Well, I didn't think anything was wrong. I couldn't remember when Barbara left, but I've blacked out before when I've had a little too much.
Yeah.
So I took a shower and I got dressed. And it was while I was dressing I noticed the sample case was gone. I looked everywhere for it.
You figure she took it?
Now, who else could have? Boy, you guys are pretty hard to convince, aren't you?
Well, why didn't you tell us about Barbara when you first came in here?
Well, I was thinking of my job.
Yeah.
Boss just promoted me a couple of months ago. I'm doing pretty good. I'm making fair money.
Is that so?
Yeah, if he ever found out I let some dame roll me in a hotel room, well, I'd be out of my ear.
All right.
And that's not all. I got a wife. Helen, that's her name. You guys married?
He is.
Well, then maybe he'll understand. We've only been married a couple of years, and Helen doesn't like the idea of me being on the road half the time. She's suspicious enough as it is.
Yeah.
So I did some quick thinking, come up with the story I gave you this morning, you know, about George and Paul. Well, it really wasn't my own idea exactly. What I mean is that I was talking to a salesman at the convention the other day, you know, one of the real old-timers. He told me how some guys had robbed him once when he was just starting out, and that's where I got the idea. Sort of switched it around to fit what happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't see where I was doing any harm. I never thought you'd be able to get the watches back anyhow.
Well, you didn't make it any easier for us.
Well, maybe not. But you don't know Helen. Well, she'd leave me sure as fate if this ever gets out.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cause you any trouble.
Didn't seem to make any difference what I told you as long as the watches were gone.
No, it makes a difference.
Yeah?
If we want to find out who took them. 3:15 p.m. We went back to the Greystone Hotel and talked to the manager. He gave us the home telephone number of the elevator boy who had been on duty the previous night. We called the boy, and he told us he remembered taking a passenger who resembled Russell Liggins up to the third floor sometime after 2 a.m. in the morning. He also remembered that Liggins had been accompanied by a young lady. He did not remember bringing the lady down, but he suggested that she might have used the stairs. We called the crime lab, and they went over Liggins' room. They found no useful fingerprints or other physical evidence. 5:15 p.m., we went back to the office. Liggins gave us a description of the girl known to him as Barbara. We showed him some mug shots, but he was unable to identify any of the women. 7:18 p.m., Frank and I again interviewed the bartender at the Green Hat Cafe.
Well, what did I tell you? Just a couple of questions, that's all. Next thing I know, you guys have moved in for the winter.
All right, Sam, now take it easy.
Have I got any choice?
You remember the girl Liggins was talking to in here last night?
So it's a girl now. I thought it was two guys.
Oh, come on, Sam. You mentioned her yourself.
I never figured you fellows believed anything I told you.
We want to know who she is.
Just a girl, that's all. She comes in once in a while.
She got a name?
Never introduced herself.
She live in the neighborhood?
I don't know.
Well, who does?
Look, this Liggins is a character. He's already taken you for one ride today. Now, why don't you get off?
We'd like to get in touch with her, Sam.
Get in touch?
You going to help?
Well, how can I help you? I don't know her name. I don't know her address.
Yeah, well, maybe you can find out.
I busted my crystal ball just the other day.
All right. We'll send in a couple of uniforms to watch your joint for a few days.
You got any objections?
Well, sure. Cops make me nervous. Make the customers nervous, too.
Maybe you got the wrong kind of customers.
Well, what are you going to do? All right, talk to Jeanette.
Jeanette?
Yeah, the waitress. She's in the back room eating her chow.
She know the girl we're looking for?
Yeah, they're real buddy-buddy. Spend half their time chinning together. Never get any work out of Jeanette once the other one comes in.
All right, Sam. Thank you.
You know, there's something been worrying me.
What's that?
Whenever you guys show up, I make up my mind you're not going to get any answers from me. I'm not even going to give you the time of day. And then what happens? I end up telling you everything you want to know.
Maybe you just like it, Sam.
Yeah, that's what's been worrying me.
Frank and I walked back into the kitchen of the Green Hat Cafe, and we interviewed the waitress, Jeanette Grover. She told us that her friend's name was Barbara Hooper. She also told us that she had no idea where Barbara lived.
She used to have a room over on Western, but she moved when she got married.
How long ago was that?
3 weeks. Oh, no, let's see. It's longer. Oh, they went to Vegas on a Sunday. It'd be 4 weeks next Sunday.
You're sure you don't have her address, huh?
No, she gave it to me once, but I didn't take it down. I wouldn't have no use for it.
How's that?
I don't get along with Tom.
Tom?
Yeah, that's Barbara's husband. Tom Kernan. Oh, say, that's right. I guess I made a mistake.
Ma'am?
When you asked me what her last name was, I said it was Hooper. I should have said Kernan now.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know why she ever married him, a good-looking girl like Barbara. She sure could have done better. Tramp. That's all he is. Well, I told her what she's letting herself in for. And that he's got a record as long as my right arm. I've seen him come and go. When you work in a place like this, you can spot a rotten apple a mile off. I never figured he'd get into trouble this fast, though. What do you want with her?
Just like to get in touch with her, that's all.
Oh, now, I know better than that about cops. They want to get in touch. They mean business. You mind me giving you a piece of advice?
Not at all.
I don't blame her, whatever it is. He's to blame, whatever she's done. You check into it and you'll see. The gal gets married to a wrong guy and lasses up her whole life. Not her fault.
Except for one thing.
Yeah?
She married him. We went back to the office and ran the name Thomas Kernan through the record bureau. They came up with a package. Kernan had served time for burglary and was now on active parole. We checked with Fred Galloway at adult parole. He told us that Kernan's last known address was an apartment on Western Avenue. We drove out there. Down here.
Yeah. Hey, here it is. Yeah, all set.
Wait a minute. All right.
Oh, what do you want?
Come on, open up.
Okay, keep your hat on.
Police officer, stand still.
Who's moving?
It's clean, Joe.
Where's your wife? Out.
Out where?
I don't know. She wasn't here when I came home.
We'll look around.
Be my guest. Always knew you guys rode as ex-cons. That ain't no surprise, but I didn't know you started picking on her wives, too.
No.
She's a nice kid.
Mm-hmm.
Don't start in on her. You stay on my back. I'm used to it, but let her alone.
Joe?
Yeah.
I found this case in the closet.
The watch is still inside.
Most of them, anyway.
All right.
The heck's that?
You didn't know about this?
Of course not.
Yeah, sure.
I never saw him before.
Your wife did.
Hmm?
How soon will she be back?
I don't know.
We'll wait.
Up to you. Never saw those watches before in my life, I'm telling you the truth.
You bet you are.
Even if Barbara did take them, that don't make me guilty of anything.
No.
Stupid broad. Once you start making with a question, she'll spill the whole deal.
But you didn't know anything about it.
Maybe I knew she was looking for a setup. What does that prove? Some setup. Guy with a suitcase full of watches. Dizzy dame didn't even know they had serial numbers on them. What a brain. First job she ever pulled, she gets picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Time I was her age, I pulled half a dozen. You cops hadn't even tumbled once.
You're real bright.
That's the use. They won't learn. Tried to teach her the ropes. Gets picked up on her first job.
You know, you should have expected that.
Why? What do you mean?
Look who taught her.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 2nd, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Thomas Carew Kernan was returned to the adult authority for violation of parole. Violation of parole is punishable by the term not served. Barbara Jane Kernan was found guilty of grand theft, 1 count. Grand theft is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for not more than 1 year, or in the state prison for not less than 1, nor more than 10 years.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Regan. I get 10 a day on expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, Investigator, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of The Lost Lady.
You'll find it in Hollywood, jammed in between Van Ness and Wilton, right off the boulevard, Taft Avenue. Starts at a furniture store, runs for about a block, and then crosses Franklin. What happens to it after that, I don't know. I only go as far as the gray apartment building on the even number side, about the first thing you see. Figures that the guy who built my place never read the earthquake laws. A good crap game and shake it loose. Well, that's where I live. Apartment 308. In the back, where I can keep an eye on a brass drain pipe and a tired-out palm tree.
I got a coffee pot and a bed that comes out of the wall. It isn't much, but the phone company had to have an address. That's where I was last Monday night, about 8 o'clock. Some Cleveland fans were running up a house tab in the apartment above me when the phone rang. I thought it might be somebody from Boston. It was the Lion.
Regan, I'm calling you from the office. I stayed late tonight.
You should have joined the union.
We got a new client.
Yeah?
Her name's Isabel Sanchez. I just talked to her.
Did you make a date?
She flew in from Mexico City tonight on American Airlines. She needs help.
They're saying that about the Democrats.
Comes from a fine family. Lots of influence in Mexico.
Try the State Department.
She came all the way to Los Angeles to see her sister, but she's disappeared.
Did you tell her about the Missing Persons Bureau?
I told her about you.
What do you mean?
You're going to find her sister.
I'm no St. Bernard.
You'll do till I can feed one. Besides, she could go to the Mexican Council if she wanted to.
What's that got to do with it?
Remember the Pan-American Conference? We gotta be nice to this dame.
Yeah, well, don't make up a contract.
I already did. She gave me $200.
What else did you get?
She'll tell you the rest.
Don't you ever ask questions?
That's your job. She's got a room at the Belmont. Hop over there and see her. She's expecting you to find her sister.
Is that all?
That's enough. Call me after you talk to her.
I hope her check bounces.
Don't worry. She paid cash.
Well, you can tell that the Lion only stayed in school long enough to learn how to spell dollar. It took me about 20 minutes to get over to her hotel. Isabel Sanchez had a room on the 6th floor. I found it on the Wilshire side. 610 it was. She was a tall, blonde girl, not the least bit pretty. She had a mouthful of good-looking teeth, but she never learned how to use them in a smile.
You're Mr. Regan?
That's right.
Come in. Please excuse me. I'm still unpacking. Come in.
All right.
I'm so glad you're here. I suppose Mr. Lyon told you everything.
Your sister's missing. You want to talk to me?
Yes. Oh, it's terrible. An awful vacant feeling. I was so looking forward to seeing Carmen again. We were very close.
You talk like you don't expect to see her.
Something might have happened to her.
Like what?
I don't know. She's always been so independent and, well, strange.
Well, a lot of people have their own ideas.
I'm embarrassed telling you this.
You've got to tell somebody.
Well, Carmen left home against my father's wishes.
How old is Carmen?
22.
What was the guy's name?
What do you mean?
All right, come on. I got to have it all, lady. There was a man in it.
Yes. Martin Chambers.
From here in L.A.?
Carmen met him once in Mexico City. Thought she was in love with him.
When was this?
A year ago.
She followed him back.
Yes.
You took a long time to catch up.
I've been very concerned about Carmen. I received this letter from her a few days ago. It was the first word since she left home. Here. You can see it's not much. She asked me to come here. I took the first plane.
Uh-huh. What about this address?
There's no such place. I went there right from the airport.
Who sent you to us?
You're in the phone book.
Is that all you got?
Well, I have a picture, and it isn't very good. Just a snapshot here.
Uh-huh. Blonde, huh?
A little darker than mine. She's the same height. We wore each other's clothes.
Who else did she know?
Just Martin Chambers. Oh, no. Now, wait a minute. She mentioned a Dr. Menlo in her letter.
Did she need a doctor?
She just said he'd been very kind to her.
That isn't very much to go on.
I know, but you will follow every lead.
Yeah, sure. What are you scared of?
Why do you ask that?
It's a warm night. You got the shakes.
I had a long trip.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. You know this Chambers?
Yes?
You like him?
No.
What's that you got there in your hand?
An evening gown. Why?
You didn't bring that for me. Well, her story was smooth, but the clothes didn't fit. All the labels that showed said New York City. I went downstairs to a phone booth, and I got a hold of a friend of mine in the CAA. He checked into it, and he told me that nobody named Isabel Sanchez came in on that Mexico City flight. The whole thing looked phony, like a fan dancer in long underwear. Well, it was about 11 o'clock when I got over to the Lion's place. It was a cold night, but the Lion looked warm.
What do you want, Regan? I'm busy.
So am I. I've been looking at that Sanchez dame.
Tell me about it in the morning.
No, I'm going to tell you about it right now. It's no good.
What do you mean?
It's another bum client.
She gave me $200.
Her clothes are out of New York.
Maybe she came the long way.
She didn't come in on American.
So she's got a donkey.
All you gotta do is find her sister.
I just told you she's a phony.
Let me worry about that.
Well, you can start now. Here.
What's this?
It's a letter and a picture. That's all the lead I got.
Now, wait a minute, Regan. What about our contract?
New Year's is coming up. You'll need confetti.
I can't do a thing like that. We got a moral obligation.
And $200.
I'm thinking of our reputation. I've given our word.
Take it back.
That girl's a stranger in a foreign land. She came to us for help.
Oh, stop it, will you? If there was a quarter in the bay, you'd drop your mother overboard and tell her to hold her nose.
You're getting out of line, Regan.
If she came up with kelp, you'd ring her out for iodine.
That's enough. We got a case, and you're going to handle it.
You're going to handle it. I quit.
And I know this girl looks suspicious, but we have to give our clients the benefit of the doubt.
Why didn't you send her to missing persons?
I'll keep this picture and check with them first thing in the morning. You follow up that memo in the letter.
Well, a guy named Chambers has got priority.
Who's that?
The girl's got a love story.
It's getting cold out here. Check me in the morning.
I'll do that.
Remember, Regan, we always work hand in hand.
Yeah. That's why I never wear a ring. Well, it was too late to do anything else, so I went home and pulled that bed out of the wall. The next morning, I found a Martin Chambers listed in the city directory with an address on Laurel. Turned out to be a 2-story apartment building about the color of a bride's blush. And it was wrapped around a swimming pool the size of a bird bath. Chambers' name wasn't on the mailbox, but a skinny guy with a load of bed sheets told me I could find the manager in apartment 15. When she answered the door, her voice sounded like a beer truck in low gear.
Hello, Sonny. Looking for an apartment?
You got one?
No. Come on in. Having some coffee. You want some?
No, I'll pass.
You don't know me, do you?
I just got here.
I played the Palace in 26. Ah, them was the days.
Write it up and sell it to the movies.
Them slobs. Central Casting had called me in 4 years.
You got a card?
AFRA, SAG, and the Musicians Union. I played French horn. None of them call me. I figure it's a record band.
I'll talk to Petrillo.
I hate this dump. My third husband gave it to me. By the way, what are you doing here, Sonny?
I'm looking for a man named Martin Chambers.
What do you want him for?
Talk to him.
Cop?
No.
The day that guy moved in, I had him pegged for a gigolo. His hair was too curly.
Well, some women like that.
Not me. I used to have to chase him around the swimming pool to get his rent.
You're using the past tense. Where is he now?
Forest Lawn.
That's one way to break a lease.
He got boozed up about 6 months ago and drove off Malibu Pier. Took them 3 days to fish him out.
Straighten his hair?
Yeah, it sure did. Oh, wait a minute here. I kind of like you, Sonny. You get around, don't you?
Yeah, when the weather's good.
Ever run into Louis B?
No, not yet.
If you do, mention my name, will you?
What is it?
Just say that Goldie McMasters was asking for him. He'll remember old Goldie.
How could he forget?
Palace in 26.
Mm-hmm.
Let's back
When I left, she was thumbing through an old variety. She looked unhappy, like a banjo player with a paper pick. Well, what she told me about Chambers took the leading man out of the picture, but there was a bit player named Menlo. Well, I called the office of a Paul Menlo, but they said he wasn't in that day, so I drove out to his address in Encino. It was a ranch house poured all over the top of a hill. From the looks of the place, Dr. Menlo must have been getting oversealing for his cough drops. I parked my car by the gate and followed the flagstones up to the front door. When I pressed the button, I heard something that sounded like chamber music. The door opened in the middle of the second chorus.
Good morning.
I want to see Dr. Menlo.
Your name, please?
Regan.
You'll have to call the doctor's office, Mr. Regan.
I already did.
And they must have told you the doctor doesn't see any patients at his home.
Yeah, well, I'm not sick.
Keep it up and you will be. Beat it, Pilgrim.
No, I came here to see the doctor.
He don't want to see you.
Get your hands off me, punk.
Once I hit a guy in the ear, it busted his leg. I can handle this guy, Vicky.
Stop that. Get out, Max.
I'll be in the back if you want.
You ever been a referee?
I've been a lot of things. Come in, Mr. Regan. I apologize for him. He's so eager. Isn't this better?
No, everybody's eager now.
Anxious is a better word. I like Blue Surge. Has an effect on me.
You're the doctor's helper?
I hold his stethoscope. My name's Vicky Starr.
I'd like to see him.
He's busy.
Where do I wait?
Might be quite a while. He just opened the bottle.
Well, then I'm right on time.
Paul's not sociable like me. He drinks alone. He gets more that way. Let me entertain you.
What can you do?
Watch.
Oh, no. Easy, baby. I don't know how to fix a fracture.
I've already got a man that can do that. I want one with brains.
What's the matter with the doctor?
He keeps his in cold storage. Hasn't used them for a long time now.
Oh, I don't know. He's done all right.
This place? He'd be selling papers if his wife hadn't left him a good insurance policy.
Don't you like his money?
Don't get me wrong. I like being secure, but the girl has feelings, too.
Mm-hmm. They're beginning to show.
I'm glad I met you.
Why?
We're going to have some nice afternoons.
It's football season.
I have some free time. Want to hear me on the piano, for instance?
No, I don't sing.
I'll teach you. Paul says I should have an outside interest.
Well, keep looking. You'll find one.
You smile good, but you talk nasty.
You started this conversation, sis.
Max is still in the kitchen.
I came here to see Menlo.
You didn't say what about.
I'll tell him.
There's the phone. Call and make an appointment.
Yeah, I'll be...
Oh, Vicky, who is it this time?
His name's Regan. He hasn't got a business card.
Have Max show him out.
You Dr. Menlo?
Yes. Should I turn all my patients over to another doctor?
Yeah, well, I know one you forgot.
Tell me who.
Carmen Sanchez.
Go ahead, Vicky. I'll talk to him.
Watch yourself, Paul. He doesn't know how to be nice.
It'll only take a minute.
I'll crack some ice.
Good nurse.
She's out of uniform.
We're casual. You said I had a patient named Carmen Sanchez. Who told you that?
Somebody she knew?
Your relative?
Friend.
You heard some wrong information, mister. I never heard of Carmen Sanchez.
I read about you in a letter.
Must have been another Menlo.
No, there's only one with a license.
You peaked, too. 25 a day?
10. I work for another guy.
Who?
Lion.
Lion's Eye. Okay. You're still at the wrong house.
You want to show me your files?
Why not? Come on.
Okay.
They keep a duplicate at home. Help yourself. Want a drink?
Too early.
You don't mind if I have one?
No.
Anything?
Not under Sanchez, no.
Now do you believe me?
She could have used another name.
Got any ideas?
Blonde girl, 5'4", brown eyes.
Means nothing.
Do you ever know a man named Chambers?
Yeah. In high school, back in Denver. Drove a truck.
That doesn't help.
I'm sort of retired now.
Yeah, that's what Vicky said.
Nice girl. Talks to everybody. You satisfied?
Not yet.
Don't mention it. Always glad to help out. There's easier ways to make a living.
Yeah, I haven't got a wife with an insurance policy.
A year ago, I'd have broke you in half for that. Now it doesn't matter. You can find the door.
I'll be back.
Don't bother, Regan. Doctor will be out.
I left him sitting there with a glass of rye in his hand. It wasn't much of an interview, but there was a story somewhere. What Menlo didn't have in his files, he was keeping in his head, and figured he might open up if I showed him that snapshot in the letter. Well, I drove back to town. I put in a call to the Lion. Nobody answered at the office, so I went home. When I opened my door, I caught a load of taboo. Isabel Sanchez was wearing a dress she must have put on with a shoehorn.
You've got the nicest janitor. He thinks I'm your sister.
Where'd you meet him?
He was in the lobby when I came in. I've been waiting for you.
Yeah, well, we got an office, you know.
No one answered when I rang. I wanted to be sure and see you before I left.
Taking a trip?
I leave for Mexico City first thing in the morning.
Well, it was a short visit.
It was long enough.
What about your sister?
That's what I came here to tell you. I found Carmen.
Oh, you did?
Or rather, Carmen found me. I feel foolish now, calling in a detective service and all that.
Why?
Well, Carmen came to my hotel about noon today. And you imagine she's been looking for me.
Last night you said she didn't have an address.
Well, that was another silly thing. Only it was her mistake. She's not very good at details.
Where is she now?
Well, she's out buying a few things and packing. I've convinced her to come home with me.
All right. Now you want to know what I found?
Why on earth should I? I have my sister.
You were worried about a man named Chambers last night.
Carmen told me she hasn't seen him for months.
Did she tell you about her doctor?
No.
I met him. Only he said he never saw her.
Oh, is that so? Well, Mr. Regan, I do appreciate your services. Please thank Mr. Lyons for his kindness. I'm sorry I won't be able to see him.
Yeah, he's going to be sorry, too.
You'll give him this envelope. There's $100 in it.
You're paid up.
It's for all the unnecessary trouble I've caused you. And, Mr. Regan, it's all confidential.
You read the contract.
I wouldn't want any of this to get back to the wrong people.
You know some of the wrong kind, do you?
Doesn't everyone? Thank you again. Bye.
Hello?
You run any expenses on this thing today?
No, I didn't.
Good. It's all over.
Isabel said she didn't see you.
There's a guy named Gallagher in missing persons. Got an eye like an eagle. He took one look at that snapshot and opened a file.
What kind of file?
Dead and unclaimed.
What do you mean?
Carmen Sanchez has been dead a year, and the county buried her.
You are listening to the story of the lost lady, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Before we continue with tonight's story, here's an important message from the Adjutant General's office. The Army Nurse Corps Reserve still has commissions available for graduate registered nurses between the ages of 21 and 45. If you believe you qualify for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now, back to the story of the lost lady and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, there are enough angles in this thing to write a new geometry book. Isabel Sanchez came to Los Angeles to find her sister, Carmen. She called in the Lion, who started me digging. A doctor named Menlo out in Encino used a milk bottle for a jigger. He was heavy on green stuff, but light on memory, and gave me nothing but an ice cube. His girlfriend, Vicky, was a little different. She gave me a warm glow, but I still drew a blank on the missing sister. Then Isabel walked into my place and said she found Carmen and called off the chase. That's about when the Lion rang and said that he'd found her, too, only his version was a little different. She was holding down a plot in the county cemetery, been dead a year. Well, I caught a cab and I went over to her hotel. A small man with a bald head opened the door and looked at me like I was trying to crash a coming-out party.
Yes?
I'm looking for Isabel Sanchez.
Are you a friend?
She won't think so.
She's not available.
All right, I'll wait.
What I mean is, could you come back later?
What's wrong with her now?
Oh, well, you see...
All right, come on, Buster. Let's throw it in gear.
Are you a guest of the hotel?
No.
Could you please tell me the nature of your business?
I want to see Isabel.
I'm sorry. I can't let you in until you tell me who you are.
Regan, International Detective Bureau. She's a client.
Oh, come in. I'm Dr. Stanwyck, the house physician.
She need one?
Not anymore. Look for yourself.
Uh-huh. How long's she been this way?
2 hours, I'd say. Bellboy found her a few minutes ago. She drank a lot. Alcoholic poisoning.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Regan, when a thing like this occurs, naturally, we don't like it to get around to the other guests. You'll use discretion, I presume.
I'll be as quiet as she is.
Thank you, Mr. Regan. We appreciate it. The elevator's to your right.
I got a good memory.
Regan,
What are you doing here?
come to talk to our client.
You'll need a Ouija board.
What you mean?
She's dead.
Why'd you let that happen?
She wouldn't have done you any good.
What you talking about?
Yeah, all right. You go to Isabel. You say her sister's buried on the county, but it'll take a little cash to keep it out of the newspapers.
Not so now.
Go back to your contest blanks, big shot. That Sanchez dame didn't come from Mexico, and she wasn't rich.
You mean she's been lying?
I told you that yesterday.
All right, we'll close the Sanchez case.
Oh, no, we won't. It's still wide open.
Where you going?
To buy an Airwick. Well, I went down to the Hall of Records. It's a brown building off Temple that leans over like an old lady with a short cane. I took the elevator upstairs, and I walked down to Vital Statistics. The place was empty, except for a guy sitting behind the desk. He had on a black suit with dust on the shoulders. His fingernails were dirty, and he was reading a dictionary. He must have been at a good part, because he looked mad when I nudged him.
Menada da tas. Quick shove it.
I want some information.
That's what I'm here for. I'm a public servant.
Now, let's get to the death files, will you?
You're a morbid guy. You got a lot of stuff on births and marriages. Ask me something about that.
Carmen Sanchez died a year ago in August. Tell me what from.
Okay. How'd you spell it?
Just like it sounds.
Sanchez. 17, Solas, Sanaki, Tampa. Oh. That's what happened to old Sandy. No wonder I ain't seen him around.
Get the Sanchez.
All right. I got the Sanchez. Carmen. 22, date of death, 8/30/47. Alcoholic poisoning. She drank a lot.
Who signed the certificate?
P.E. Menlo, M.D.
Thanks.
Next time, make it something hard.
All right. Try this. Menlo's wife died about the same time.
Masters, Marie, Melbourne, Babbitt, Menlo. Sylvia, 34/9/2/47. Alcoholic poisoning.
Certification?
P.E. Menlo. That guy can't keep a patient.
Well, I left when I went back out into the street. It was almost 5, and the traffic was heavy. I started to cross the street to a sandwich shop on the corner. A yellow cab raced me to the sidewalk, but I won. I went inside, and a skinny waitress with peanut-colored hair brought me a cup of stale coffee and a burnt hamburger. I sat there and I tried to figure it. It was like swimming through a tidal wave in hip boots. 3 deaths from the same thing and Menlo's name on every one of them. Well, the answers weren't in the coffee cup, so I went home, picked up my car, and drove out to Menlo's place in Encino. The drive was nice, and so was the reception.
I built a fire.
I forgot the marshmallows.
We'll think of something else. You know, I'm not mad anymore.
I'm still looking for your doctor.
Let me take care of it.
No, I want to see him.
And you'll have to wait again.
When's he going to climb out of that bottle?
We had dinner at a place on Ventura. Paul found the bar. He'll stay till it closes.
I better go there.
Questions again?
Maybe.
I know some swell answers.
I'll bet you do.
I've worked for him a long time.
1 year.
How did you know? This is my night off.
You here all alone?
Isn't it terrible? Anything can happen. How do you like it?
Your way?
That's better. Now, let's have a nice, quiet evening. Just you and me. I had a feeling you'd be back.
That why you wore that?
Like it?
Well, you got talent, lady.
Discover me. It's been a famine of men like you.
You don't look underfed.
Why didn't I meet you sooner?
We didn't travel in the same crowd.
Let's start over.
Do you keep his files?
What's that got to do with us?
They'd never pass inspection.
Are you talking about something I should know?
Carmen Sanchez.
What about her?
She died. Menlo signed her death certificate.
Paul's lost a lot of patience. He's not very good. Did I tell you I played the piano?
You told me some other things.
Did I?
They make a good story.
I don't like stories.
Well, I'm going to tell you anyway.
I thought we were going to have a nice, quiet evening.
A girl walked in his office one day and dropped dead.
Good opening. Why'd she do that?
Alcoholic poisoning. She was a nobody named Carmen Sanchez.
The story's getting dull.
There was a snapshot in her pocketbook. That's my show.
When does the action begin?
Right now, lady. The doctor's wife had an insurance policy. He convinced her to take a trip.
Why'd he want to do a thing like that?
So he could pull a name fix and collect his wife's insurance. He had a body.
No one will ever believe this plot.
He buried an empty box.
How do you know?
I'm going to have somebody dig it up.
What about the body?
He turned that over to the county.
Everybody lives happy ever after. Don't you like my music?
You're going to have to take up the harmonica, lady.
Why?
The gas chamber isn't big enough for a piano.
Who's going to the gas chamber?
You, maybe. And insurance fraud's one thing. Murder's a longer rap.
You haven't touched your drink.
I don't like mine that strong. Now, come on, lady. Get your coat.
Max!
I thought you were alone.
I lied.
Hello, Regan. You look excited.
It's tough, Max.
Yeah, that's easy.
Soften him up.
Oh.
I was in a white room when the trip ended. I tried to move my head, but it felt like a grand piano. So I just lay there. Pretty soon somebody put something damp on my face, and I began to see things. Vicky was there, Max, So was Menlo. If I'd have had a deck of cards, we could have played a pinochle game. Menlo looked kind of upset, like an ostrich with a sore throat. He had a needle in his hand.
I got the shakes.
You're all right, Paul. Now go ahead.
Just like Isabel.
You should have stayed out, Regan.
Oh, I wanted one more look at you, baby.
I hate to see the nice ones go, but it'll all be over in a minute. All right, Paul.
Give me a drink, Vicky.
Never mind. Hurry up.
Gonna have a drink.
Oh, you're too slow, Max.
Yeah? Keep away from me, Max. I'll tell you.
Put down that
keep
gun.
away from me as well.
Oh,
I told you to keep away.
Menlo slugged for Kara Max, but Vicky shot Menlo twice. And his knees knocked together. He began to pitch around like a toy balloon in a hurricane. He dropped his gun, but he held onto the needle. Then he slumped forward and made a grab for Vicky, and they both went down. He jammed the needle into her arm.
Here.
Same stuff you used on Isabel?
Yeah. They'll call it alcoholic voice.
I'll straighten him out.
Regan, hold my head.
Yeah. Here.
Call a doctor. Yeah.
He'd never make it.
Please, Regan. Call a doctor. Please.
Give me 5 good reasons.
5 good reasons? I got Vicky. I'll never use a needle again. And
you only gave me 2. Well, we didn't hear from the suburbs, but there were enough ballots to make it an election. Homicide got the insurance commissioner down there, and he threw in a vote. Seems that Isabel Sanchez was Menlo's wife, only her name was Sylvia. When a dame named Carmen Sanchez dropped dead in his office, Menlo got kind of ambitious. He talked his wife into the switch, and, well, everything might have worked out. Except one night when he was seeing elephants, he told Vicky the whole thing. She set the squeeze play with Max in the dugout. When Sylvia got back and saw how things were, she called herself Isabel Sanchez and went to the Lion with a story about a lost sister. I was hired for scare work, and when she figured they had enough, she called me off, but it didn't take. And you know the rest. Well, the insurance company issued a fee for exposing a defraud, and the Lion got his picture on page 1. It was right next to Vicky's. She was wearing one of those French swimming suits. The Lion said that'd do us a lot of good. It did. We each got a free bathing suit.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at the same time next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, the Investigator. Written by E. Jack Newman and Larry Roman. Produced by Sterling Tracy. The role of Vicky Starr was played by Yvonne Patey. Lorraine Tuttle was Isabel Sanchez. Ken Christie played Dr. Paul Menlo. And Larry Dobkin was Max Brenner. Original music for this program is by Milton Charles. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Dragnet. Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A man has been shot in a cheap hotel in the downtown area. There's no apparent motive for the attack. No lead to the identity of the assailant. Your job, find him.
It was Tuesday, January 11th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 5:26 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Yeah. We just had the call, Skipper. Mm-hmm. Well, he's on the way in. That's right. Wait a minute. Yeah, here he is now. Uh-huh. No, I haven't called him yet. Well, I didn't say anything. Okay, we'll keep in touch with him. Right. Bye.
What do you got, anything?
Yeah, shooting over on 5th. As soon as I check the crime lab, we can roll on.
Who's the victim?
Guy named Arthur McNeil. WMA, 62 years.
Did he say anything?
No, he ran out. Huh? 6 bullets in his head.
The Garnet Hotel was located on 5th Street between Turner and Banning. It was an old, run-down building. A wooden sign over the entrance advertised rooms, 75 cents per night. Weekly rates available. Frank and I climbed one flight of wooden stairs that led to the lobby. By the time we'd gotten there, 2 black and white cars had arrived, and the uniformed officers were attempting to restore some sort of order in the place. We talked with them briefly, and then we met Mr. Ted Brendel, the night clerk who'd placed the original call.
I know what's going on, I tell you. No reason for me to try to hide nothing. I ain't mixed up in it.
We didn't say you were.
What?
I say we didn't say you were involved. We just want to find out what happened here.
Oh, come on in the office. Can't hear a word you're saying. Come on. Come on, talk in the office. Now then. Well, we can hear yourself talk. Sit down.
Thank you.
Just throw the clothes on the floor, toss them down, and take a seat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now about the shooting.
I was just finishing up, and all of a sudden I hear these noises. You know, like pow, pow. Loud, sharp.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure what they was at first. A lot of noise around here all the time. People falling out of bed, bottles breaking, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was loud enough, though. I figured I ought to take a look, so I went upstairs.
Yeah.
A couple other people were out in the halls trying to find out what the hullabaloo was all about. Wasn't anything to let anybody know.
Yes, sir.
Then I come to Mr. McNeil's room, 319 on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Door was open, wide. I looked in. There he was.
McNeil?
Yes, sir, laying right on the floor. Just kind of sprawled around like it just dropped there.
Yeah.
I called to him. He yelled. Light wasn't on the room. Couldn't see too good. Didn't know right off. Then I went in.
Yes, sir.
Dead. Called the cops. Told them it was a killing. Said for him to come right then.
Did you go in the room at all?
Well, just to look at Mr. McNeil. As soon as I saw what happened, I turned around, run to the phone, called the cops.
What can you tell us about this, McNeil?
Oh, not much to say. Quiet. Didn't cause no trouble. Didn't drink. Paid his rent on time.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any relatives in town that you know of?
Didn't hear him say nothing.
Is there anything else you might tell us about it?
No, nothing right off.
All right, thank you.
You going up to see the room now?
That's right.
Sure don't make much sense.
What's that?
Why anybody do it? Plain little guy. Nothing about him make him stand out, take any notice.
Mm-hmm.
Mind his own business. Got along with all the guests. Wasn't anybody paid any attention to him.
You got it wrong.
What?
Somebody did. 6:12 a.m. The crew from the crime lab arrived and began their investigation of the murder room. The canvass of the area was started in an attempt to find somebody who might have seen the killer. Frank and I went up to room 319. The appearance of the room indicated there'd been a struggle before McNeil was killed. Clothing was scattered around the floor. Tables were overturned. The bedding had been ripped from the bed and then torn apart. Pictures had been removed from the wall. Books were scattered all around the place. The drawers from the small desk in the bureau had been ransacked. Papers had been thrown around. While Lieutenant Lee Jones continued his investigation, Frank and I talked with the night clerk, Ted Brendel.
Do you know if McNeil carried large sums of money?
Huh?
Did McNeil carry much money with him, would you know?
Don't know as I can answer that. He never did flash any of it around. Guess he had enough to live on, though. Told you before, he always paid his rent on time.
Yeah.
Do you have any close friends you know of?
Only met one.
Who was that?
Girl.
You know her name?
Well, ain't exactly a girl either. Guess she's around 50. A couple of times, McNeil took her out to a movie or something. They came in, he went upstairs, changed his clothes, and her and me, we talked. I guess he saw something kind of interesting in her. Myself, I couldn't, though. Kind of dumpy, you know. Seemed to like her, though. A couple other times he talked about her, said how she was so nice, seemed to understand him.
How about her name?
Let me think for a minute. Clara. Yeah, it seemed like that was it. Clara.
You know where we can get in touch with her?
Well, the way I remember, she lived in a hotel down the street near 6th.
Do you know the name of the place?
Eldridge, I think it was. Not real sure. If you ask down there, they ought to be able to tell you, though. Name's Clara or something.
What if we use your phone?
Sure, in the lobby downstairs.
I'll call.
All right.
Hey, you gotta have dime. It's a payphone.
Yes, sir.
Gee, they sure made a mess.
Did McNeil get much mail while he was here?
No, a couple of letters.
You know who they were from?
Some law company here in town. Must have been good. You know how they have the name printed up in the corner of the envelope?
Yeah.
Embossed. Must have cost them something.
You remember the name?
No, can't get a picture.
Did McNeil drive a car?
Used to take a streetcar to work. Know that because he used to talk about the people he met. He got real sore when it rained. Told me he couldn't stand the smell of wet wool. Said there ought to be a law that nobody could wear wool clothes when it rained.
Well.
He's a funny little guy. Got real definite ideas about things.
That's so?
Oh, yeah. Made up his mind and stuck to it. Like the envelope.
Well, what's that?
The envelope he had a couple of days ago. Wanted to put it in the hotel safe. Told him he didn't have one, just got the steel boxes. You know, one for each room in case the guests want to check something.
Yeah.
And we got those. And when he found out, he decided to keep the envelope himself.
He tell you what was in it?
No, just acted kind of mysterious, like it had something real valuable inside. When he found out there wasn't safe, he told me he'd keep it with him.
But he didn't give you any idea what was in the envelope?
No, just plain white, little, you know, like you mail a letter in.
Yeah.
How about it? Find a woman?
Yes, sir. I'll see you in a minute, Joe.
Yeah. Want to excuse it?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to check the hotel. The woman's name is Clara Fabian.
Yeah.
She checked out 30 minutes ago.
See where she's going?
No. Clerk said she was pretty upset.
Yeah.
Said something about a death in the family.
Frank and I went over to the Eldridge Hotel. We talked to the manager, and he told us that the Fabian woman had left hurriedly. We checked her room, but we found nothing to indicate where she might have gone. We called the office and had the name run through R&I. We found she had a record listing several drunk arrests and 2 convictions on bunco charges. Her picture was pulled and shown to Ted Brenda. He identified her as McNeil's friend. From her package, we obtained the name of a sister living in the Los Angeles area. 7:21 a.m., Frank and I drove out to talk to her. At first, she refused to tell us anything, but after questioning, she admitted that she'd heard from Clara Fabian that morning. She'd called to say that she was checking into a hotel on South Spring Street. When we got to the place, the desk clerk told us we'd find her in the coffee shop.
I guess that's her.
Yeah, it matches the description.
Yeah.
Clara Fabian?
Yeah. What do you want?
Police officers would like to talk to you.
Oh, nothing to do with no cops.
It's my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
I told you, I don't want to talk to you. Go away.
Afraid we can't do that.
Why? Some kind of law? Don't know what you're after, but I ain't going to help you. My filler guys like you all the time giving me nothing but trouble. I'm clean. Don't owe nobody nothing. Now leave me alone.
You know a man named Arthur McNeil?
I'm going to get out of here.
All right, Miss Fabian. If you don't want to talk here, we'll go downtown.
What about McNeil?
You know him?
Yeah.
When'd you see him last?
About midnight.
Where?
We had dinner. Couple of drinks. I drove him home.
How well do you know him?
He wants to get married.
Do you know where he worked?
At his own place. Some kind of chemicals.
Can you give us the address?
What are all the questions about? Something wrong?
Police matter.
Why don't you tell me what this is about? Questions you're asking. For all I know, I might be saying the wrong
Well,
thing.
if you tell us the truth, you won't be saying the wrong thing.
Well, I got your word on that. What's the matter? Something happened to Arthur?
Yeah.
What?
He had an accident.
Where? Down at the chemistry place?
No, at his hotel.
What did he do? Fall down the stairs?
No.
Wouldn't be surprised the way he lushed up last night. Boy, I never saw him so loaded.
That's all?
Yeah. A couple of drinks and he's on his way to outer space. Only takes 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
He had more than that when I met him. Some kind of a celebration.
What for?
Hmm?
What was he celebrating?
Some kind of an invention he was working on. Told me it had taken him over 5 years, but he did it. Said we'd be on the easy street. Big pictures about the money pouring in. All we could use.
Yeah.
That's what caused the fight.
Mm-hmm.
You see, all the time we've been going together, he's been giving me that line about lots of money. How he was going to make this invention and be a millionaire all the time, talking like that.
Yeah.
One look at him and you know it was all in his head, nothing to it. I told him to stop it. Told him 100 times. Didn't do any good. Finally blew up. I couldn't take no more.
This was last night, huh?
Yeah. We had dinner and he showed me an envelope. Said it was the invention in it. Big deal. He was going to be rich. Went on and on about it. I tell you, I think he was a little cracked. Wanted to drive to Vegas right then, get married. 10:30, and he wanted to leave then.
Yeah, right.
I told him he was off the beat. I got it right to his face.
Mm-hmm.
Made him mad. Real sore. I think a lot of it was the booze. You know, courage. He can't handle drinking at all.
Yeah.
Told me that if I didn't go with him right then, we'd call the whole thing off. Stop seeing each other.
Mm-hmm.
I told him it was all right with me. Never meant to get married anyway. Just something to do to pass the time. I wouldn't have really got married.
What happened then?
I took him home. Dropped him at the hotel.
Where'd you go then?
Back to my place, got ready for bed. Guess it was about 11 when he called, real mad. Carried on, yelled and screamed and said I'd be sorry. And I couldn't take it anymore and hung up right while he was talking. A couple of minutes later, he called back. I wouldn't answer the phone, and then when it stopped ringing, I told the boy at the desk not to ring my room anymore.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me at first, and then I got to thinking about it. A little crackpot. I tried to do something, so I decided to get out.
That's why you left the hotel.
Yeah, the way he was lushed up, things he said, no way of knowing if he was going to cause me trouble. All I knew was that I didn't want no part of it.
Yeah.
This accident. Something serious?
Yeah, that's right.
In the hospital?
No.
How bad's he hurt?
As bad as you can get.
This isn't a joke, is it?
No, it's no joke.
If it is, I don't think it's very funny.
It's no joke, lady.
Is he dead?
That's right.
He do it himself?
Looks like he had some help.
Poor little guy. It's kind of funny to think about it now. I used to figure he was cute the way he was always bringing me presents. Oh, not big, but like a bunch of flowers or a book, little thing. Funny to think about it. I can hardly imagine him being dead, poor little guy. You know who did it?
Not yet, no.
We hope you might be able to help us.
Why me?
Nobody seems to know much about him. Can't find any close friends. Nobody would want to see him dead.
He never talked about anybody to me.
Did he ever mention a lawyer to you?
No.
Can you give us any idea where he worked?
What, you mean the chemistry place?
If that's the place, yeah.
No. Never said exactly. I think it was some kind of store, though, with the windows painted. He talked about the invention, said he had all the stuff to make it with, but he never told me where it was.
All right. Anything else you can tell us about him?
No, nothing.
All right, thanks, Miss Fabian.
For what?
For what you have been able to tell us.
Don't seem like it's going to be any help. Are you sure this ain't some kind of a joke?
No, ma'am.
And he's really dead?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, poor little guy.
Well, if you think of anything, we'd appreciate a call. We'll leave you one of our cards.
Oh, thanks. I remember something, I'll sure let you know.
All right.
Can you tell me how it happened?
He was shot.
Oh, maybe it was an accident, Whoever did it didn't mean to.
No, it's not likely.
Maybe. You've heard where a gun goes off, somebody killed. All the time you read about it in the papers. Gun goes off accidentally?
No, not 6 times. Frank and I went back to the office. We called the crime lab and talked with Lieutenant Lee Jones. He told us that they'd been unable to find anything we could use at the scene of the killing. He said that the victim had been shot with a .38 caliber revolver. In going over the room, his crew had found several items of value. In light of this, there was a possibility that the motive for the killing was not robbery, as we thought before. Lieutenant Jones said that the coroner had called, and he'd said that he'd found over $100 in cash on the body of the victim, also a wristwatch and an expensive ring. In one of the pockets of the coat McNeil was wearing, the crew from the crime lab had found an address book. Jones said he was sending it over to us. The canvass of the area had netted us nothing. None of the people in the immediate vicinity had seen anything out of the ordinary at the time of the killing. We contacted the stats office and asked them to make a run on the method of operation. Until we could come up with a motive for the slaying, there was little we could do to apprehend the killer. Additional men had been sent out from the office to interrogate the other people in the hotel. They reported that they'd found nothing to aid us. 10:47 a.m.
Well, we're sure building zeros.
We sure are. There's not much to go on.
Nothing.
I got it. Homicide, Friday. Yes, sir. That's right. Well, how'd you hear about it? Yeah. Yes, sir, we would. What's that? All right. As soon as we can get there. Yes, sir. Goodbye. Might have a break, maybe. Man says he's McNeil's lawyer.
What's he got?
First step.
Huh?
The reason McNeil was killed. Frank and I left the city hall and drove over to the address I'd been given on the phone. After a few minutes' wait, we were shown into George Casper's office. We identified ourselves, and he asked us to sit down.
Terrible thing to have happened.
Yes, sir?
I heard about it on the car radio this morning while I was coming to work.
You're Mr. McNeil's attorney, are you?
Yes. Have been for over 10 years.
On the phone, you said that you knew why he was killed.
That's right. I feel a little silly about it now that you're here. All seems pretty melodramatic.
Like to tell us about it?
It's McNeil's formula.
What, sir?
For the past 8 years, McNeil's been working on a new type of explosive for commercial use.
I see.
It's supposed to have a lot of advantages. Easy to carry, minimizes the danger of accidental firing. The way he painted it, it'd answer a lot of problems in building.
Mm-hmm.
He called me the day before yesterday. He said it was finished. They'd completed the final laboratory experiments.
Yeah.
Went on about how it was going to make a fortune for him.
Mm-hmm. Had he talked to anyone about it?
I'm not sure, but knowing McNeil, I imagine he did.
Why do you say that?
These experiments got to be an obsession with him, about the only thing that mattered. A couple of times when we were out someplace, he'd have a few drinks and start talking about the explosive, loud enough for anyone near him to hear it.
You know where he worked?
Yeah, a small place out in the valley. I can give you the address if you want it.
Yes, sir, we'd appreciate that.
Have you any idea who might have killed him?
No, sir, we're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anybody he was close to?
You mean socially?
That or in business?
No, can't think of anyone. There was a girl. He spoke several times of marrying her. Sorry, but I can't tell you any more than that. I don't know her name.
All right, fine, Mr. Casper.
Does he have any relatives here in town?
No, he made a will several months ago. Left everything to one of the industrial schools. Not much. Lab equipment, a few books.
Anything else you can tell us about?
No, I'm afraid not. Most of the time he's pretty quiet. Kept to himself. Once in a while he'd go on a bender. Might last a couple of days. When he was on one of those drinking bouts, he'd get in some kind of trouble. Loud talk, something like that. Nothing serious.
All right, sir. If you'll give us that address, we won't take up any more of your time.
Yes, of course. I can understand why I felt a little silly about calling you.
What's that, sir?
Explosives, spies. Sounds like something in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't imagine there's anything to it, though. As far as I know, McNeil might not even have finished the formula. Might have been just another of his stories.
Yeah, that's right.
He was always telling whoppers. I guess a psychiatrist would say he was trying to find some way of justifying himself.
Is that right?
It seemed to be a big thing with him, to find a way of making himself heard about.
It kind of looks like he found it. Frank and I went back to the office and met with Captain Lorman. We discussed the possibility of McNeil being killed by somebody who wanted the chemical formula. Because of the potential value of the explosive, federal authorities were notified, and they sent a team of men out to aid in the investigation. The next morning, Wednesday, January 12th, we picked up a list of similar crimes from the stats office. In checking out the victims, we got the same description of the thief from each one of them. They all described him as a white male American, 32 years, 165 pounds. In each case, the thief had followed the victims and attacked them as they entered their homes. The last robbery had taken place 3 weeks before on December 23rd. During the commission of the crime, the victim had been wounded. The bullet had been removed and held at the crime lab as evidence. 8:02 a.m. Frank and I put in a call to Lieutenant Jones. 8:26 a.m. Might be late.
Yeah.
I get it. Homicide Friday. Kelly. You check him? How about it? Yeah, sure is. Yeah. Now all we got to do is to make it do some good. Right. Thank you, Lee. Bye.
What's he got?
Well, he checked the bullet from the last robbery against the ones that killed McNeil.
Yeah.
Same gun. Additional local broadcasts and APBs were gotten out carrying the description of the holdup man. Victims were asked to come to the city hall and recheck the mud books in the hope that they might be able to identify him. A check of McNeil's workshop failed to disclose any evidence that he'd been working on an explosive. A week went by without any new developments. Thursday, January 20th, Frank and I got back to the squad room.
Well, sure looked for a while like it was going to go.
Yeah, Jim. I got it. Homicide Friday. Yeah, Jim. Mm-hmm. When? Might be. Right. Right now. Right. Jim Austin, robbery. We just got back from a call out in Westwood.
Yeah?
Thief fits our description pretty good. Austin thinks it might be the same guy.
They get him?
No, something just as good.
What do you mean?
He dropped the hotel key. Frank and I went over to room 27A and we met with Sergeant Jim Austin. He gave us the details of the robbery. From the way the holdup man operated and the description given by the victim, he was the man we were looking for. In getting away from the scene, he dropped the key to a downtown hotel room. We checked the address in the phone book, and then we left the city hall. It was a small place on South 4th Street. We identified ourselves as the manager and told him why we were there.
Yes, it's one of our keys.
Can you tell us who has the room?
Yes, Ralph Otley. What's this Otley look like?
Oh, he's a nice young fella, blonde. Guess he's about 30 years old.
How long has he been here?
You mean regular?
That's right.
About 5 months. A couple of times before that for a couple of months. He came back, though.
Is he in now?
No, I haven't seen him since this morning. Left about 7:30.
Do you have a job?
Oh, he never told me nothing about it.
What's he do for a living?
Well, I guess you'd say he was kind of a promoter.
What do you mean?
Well, he goes around trying to line things up, figures some way to make a killing. He hit it pretty good on a deal last year, and he's been living on the money since then, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to talk to him about?
Police business.
Not in trouble, is he?
We better talk to him about that.
Well, look, if he's done anything wrong, the hotel didn't know a thing about it. He paid his rent. He didn't cause any trouble here. Now, we didn't have any part in it.
Well, don't worry about it. What if we could see his room?
You mean go through it?
We'd like to take a look at it, yeah.
Well, I guess it's all right. You'll be in cops. Sure, I'll give you the key.
Well, you better come with us.
Well, I ain't going to tell him nothing. He comes in while you're upstairs. I won't tell him anything.
No, sir, that's not the idea. We'd like you to be in the room when we check it.
Oh, well, sure. Okay, let's go. Mm-hmm. You really figure that there's something wrong with this Otley, huh?
Well, we're not sure.
Yeah, come to think about it, there could be.
Why do you say that?
Just because the way he lives, he'd have to make a lot of money to live the way he does. A fellow makes that much, he usually tells everybody how he did it. You know, show how smart he is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Otley never says anything, just that he made it, not how. He wouldn't let anybody in on a good thing.
Well, maybe he's got a reason.
Hmm?
It's not such a good thing. In the company of the manager, Frank and I checked the suspect's room. In one of the bureau drawers, we found a box of shells for a .38 pistol. There were also several items that had been listed as stolen in previous robberies. We returned to the lobby of the hotel and we waited for Otley to come in. 4:30 p.m., 5:30, 5:45.
Joe.
Yeah.
Hi, Sid.
Hello, Mr. Otley.
I lost my key someplace. You got another one?
Yes, sure I have.
I left it in the room. I'll check.
Sure.
Now, let's go.
Yeah. Any calls for me today?
No, sir, no calls.
Stand still, Otley. Police officers.
Hey, what are you doing?
Don't turn around.
I'll take it.
Yeah. .38 revolver.
Hey, what's this all about? I haven't done
Get
anything.
your hands back of it.
You know you got the wrong guy.
Keep telling us that.
Taking him for robbery, huh?
That's one of them.
What do you mean?
We're booking you for suspicion of murder.
Robbery, that's all you got me for. I'm not going to stand no killing beef.
You keep believing that.
I will. You're going to tag me with anything more than a 211.
Well, let's go.
Grab him, Frank. Wait a minute. Hold on up, Otley, or I'll shoot. Why did you kill me, cop? Why?
You're lucky.
That's all you know. I'd have been better off, a lot better. You should have killed me.
All right, come on. We'll take you down to George Street Hospital.
I didn't mean to shoot the old man.
That's so.
Yeah. He wouldn't give me the money. He kept saying he didn't have any.
Yeah.
I heard him talking about how he was loaded. He could have just given it to me. No trouble if he'd just given me the money.
All right, settle down. You're not hurt bad.
Well, he started yelling. I had to shoot him. I had to. It wasn't any other way. You should have killed me. That's why he took off, so you'd kill me. I wish you had it.
Well, don't worry about it.
Huh?
Maybe it'll turn out that way.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
Ralph Neville Otley was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree and received sentence as prescribed by law. The jury returned a recommendation of mercy, and the suspect was sentenced to life imprisonment at the state penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. You get a call that a downtown hotel has been held up by a bandit who carries a sawed-off shotgun. Your job? Find him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, October 9th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 2:06 a.m. when we got to the corner of Cinnabar Street and Grand Avenue. The Brinton Hotel.
Well, I just done what he told me. I figured there was no point in getting myself all roiled up. Didn't see where that would be helping matters.
Yes, sir.
Whatever he said, I done it. Hey, you fellas looking for a room?
Police officers. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Are you from robbery?
That's right.
Roberts, 1F16.
Mm-hmm. You answered the call?
Yeah. The description's out. Metro's sending a couple of cars to help us look for the suspect.
All right, good.
Anything else I can do for you?
No, not right now.
Okay. I'll take care of the report.
Thank you. We'll check with you.
Right. You know, I sure would have been wrong about you two.
What's that?
I never would have guessed you was cops.
Oh?
Salesmen. That's what I'd put you boys down for.
I see.
Ladies ready to wear. Guess I would have missed the boat this time.
Yes, sir. Would you tell us about the holdup, please?
How about them other officers already let you in on it?
Well, we'd like to get the details from you if we could.
Oh. Well, I ain't got nothing better to do. Stuck here till 7 a.m. anyhow.
Wonder if we could have your name.
Boxer, Tom Boxer.
That's Boxer?
That's it, just like a dog.
Uh-huh. What time did the robbery take place?
45 minutes ago, along around 1:20, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't 1:30 yet, I'm sure of that.
Oh?
See, I was listening to the radio. Stan Swift.
Who's that?
You know Stan Swift. He's on every night, midnight till 6, 7 nights a week.
Oh, yeah.
The nights go swifter with Swift. That's how he puts it.
Uh-huh.
Gives a time signal every hour and every half hour. Remember him giving the 1 a.m. Hadn't given the 1:30 yet, so it must have been around 1:20 when this fella come into the hotel.
What'd he do?
Walked up to the desk.
Yes, sir.
I didn't even know he was there. Not at first.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting down in that chair, kind of had my back away from the door. Didn't hear him neither on account of being plugged in.
What was that?
To my radio.
Oh, I see.
This here gadget, see?
Mm-hmm.
It's into your ear, like so.
Yeah, I understand.
Lets you listen without waking nobody up. Other end attaches to the set, like so.
Mm-hmm.
You mean that's a radio?
Sure is. You ain't never seen this kind before, huh?
No, sir.
Transistor.
Oh.
That's what they call it. Regency transistor. Ain't got no tubes. That's what makes it so small, you see. Carry it around in your pocket if you have a mind to.
I see.
Real good tone, though. Plenty of volume if you want to let it out.
Yes, sir. Now, if you just tell us about the robbery, would you, Mr. Boxer, please?
Well, ain't that what I've been doing?
Yes, sir. You said this man walked up to the desk?
That is right. Maybe stood there a couple of seconds before I sensed him.
Mm-hmm.
Unplugged myself. Got up and asked him if he wanted a room. He said he did. Single.
Yes, sir.
Checked the boxes to see what was vacant. Had my back to him while I was checking. Didn't notice him opening up his satchel.
Mm-hmm.
Must have been carrying the gun there. In the satchel. Anyway, when I turned around to register him, I found myself staring into the barrel. Shotgun it was.
All right, go ahead, please.
This is a stick-up, he said. Do what I tell you, and you won't get hurt. I didn't know whether he meant business or not, and I sure didn't aim to test him to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir, I said. You just tell me what you want, and I'll do it.
Yeah.
I ain't no coward, you understand, but I ain't no hero neither, especially when I'm facing up to a shotgun.
Sure.
Like the man says, only real heroes are dead heroes.
Yes, sir.
Me, I'd just as soon go on living. That's why I done exactly what he told me. Give him the money from the cash drawer here. See? Every penny. Hand it all over to him. Didn't try to hold none back.
Yes, sir. How much was there?
$60, somewhere in between there.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
Well, he told me to empty my pockets, lay the stuff on the desk.
You did, huh?
I emptied them. I didn't have more than $3 or $4 in change. He scooped it up with the other money, shoved it into his satchel.
I see.
Then he said for me to come out from behind this desk. Walked me over to the elevator. Told me to get inside and ride up to the top floor. That'd be the third. You see, the hotel's 3 stories high.
Yes, sir, I understand.
I suppose I could have got off on number 2. He would have known the difference. Floor indicator down there don't work.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see where I'd be gaining anything by it, so I done what he told me. I rode up to 3.
How long did you wait there?
Oh, till I seen him leave the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
From the window end of the 3rd floor hall.
Did he drive away?
No, just rolled off. I don't think he had a car.
I see.
Turned the corner, and that was the last of him.
Mm-hmm. And what did you do then?
Took the elevator back down, called the police, listened to the radio while I was waiting.
Yes, sir.
Figured I might as well take it easy till the cops come. Wasn't more than 5 minutes before them officers walked in. A little while later, you fellas walked in. I guess you know when that was.
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Boxer, could you tell us what he looked like?
Huh?
The man who held you up.
Oh, well, I told them other fellas, the ones wearing uniforms, they said they'd send out his description.
Yes, sir, we understand. We'd like to have it, too.
Okay. Oh, young fella, 25 to 30, I judge.
Yeah.
Big build, a little bigger than you. Not as big as you, though. Somewhere in between.
Yes, sir.
Black hair. Didn't catch the color of his eyes. Well, that's about all.
How was he dressed?
Suit. Stripe in it, I think. Maybe dark blue with a gray stripe. Bow tie. Kind of dapper.
Mm-hmm. Have any scars?
Not where you notice them.
He said he carried the gun in a satchel, is that right?
Must have been where he had it. Didn't actually see him take it out, though. Back was to him at the time.
How big was the satchel?
Oh, medium-sized, about so long.
Any initials on it?
No, not so far as I can recall.
What about the gun? How big was it?
This long, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Single barrel, sawed off.
Could you tell the make?
Well, I ain't no expert on shotguns.
No. Would you know this man if you saw him again?
Sure, I'd be a fool not to. Why?
I'd like to have you come down to City Hall in the morning, Mr. Boxer, if you would.
But what for?
I want to show you some photographs, see if you can pick them out.
You mean this morning?
Yes, sir, if you would.
It's Sunday.
Yes, sir, that's right.
You fellas work on Sunday?
Well, we're not the only one.
Well, what do you mean?
He did. Frank and I checked with the patrol officers who had answered Mr. Boxer's call. They told us that a search of the immediate vicinity had failed to turn up anyone who answered the suspect's description. 3:16 a.m., the crew from the crime lab finished up their investigation. There were no useful fingerprints or other physical evidence in the lobby of the hotel. 7:38 a.m., we checked the suspect's M.O. and the description with the stats office. They came up with 18 possibles. We pulled the packages from R&I and took them back to the office.
Well, looks like it might rain.
Pretty early in the season, isn't it?
Yeah, the paper says we're going to have a wet winter.
All right.
Real good for skiing, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what you need. Lots of moisture. Heavy snow.
You never go skiing.
No.
Well?
No, I thought about taking it up a couple of years ago. Faye blew her stack, though. Said I'd probably break my neck first time I tried.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think she worries more about me than she does about the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, gents.
Oh, hi, sir.
Hope I haven't kept you waiting.
No, sir, not a bit. How are you today, Mr. Boxer?
Sleepy. Usually get a couple of hours cat nap during my shift. Kind of missed out on it last night.
Yes, sir, I'm afraid you did.
Even after all you fellas left, somehow I just couldn't doze off. Listen to Stan Swift till 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bet you I know more about Egypt than a real live Egyptian. Well, you got them pictures you wanted to show me?
Yes, sir, right over here.
It's all right if I sit down?
Yeah, go right ahead. Here you are.
This the pile?
Yes, sir, take your time. Look at each one as long as you like.
Okay. Pretty tough bunch of boys.
Yeah.
No, it's not him. No. Nope. Well, hey, wait a minute. There is a resemblance. He looks something like this one here.
Is it the same man, Mr. Boxer?
Oh, no, not the same.
Yeah.
Similar type, though. Does that help you any?
Might. You want to go through the others?
Sure. Now, you see this fella?
Yes, sir.
He's not the same type at all.
No.
The other one I pointed out was, you can see the difference yourself.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Not him. Not him either. Nope. This is closer to him.
Sir?
Not as close as that one, the other one, but closer.
Yes, sir.
Now we're getting further away. No, it's none of these. Is that all you got?
Afraid so.
Well, it's the best I can do for you. Now, this one here, the one I pointed out first.
Yeah, we understand, but it's not the same man, you said.
Well, I never said it was. Just said they were similar.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm sorry we wasted your time.
Oh, it wasn't no waste of time, not as far as I'm concerned.
Huh?
Remember I telling you about how I try to guess what different folks do for a living?
Yeah.
Looking at all these pictures will be a big help from now on.
How's that?
I'll know a crook when I see one.
On the following Sunday, October 16th, 2 more hotels were held up by a shotgun bandit. Both robberies occurred during the early morning hours. Both hotels were small. The description of the suspect and his M.O. indicated that he was the same man who had robbed the Brinton Hotel. Frank and I continued our investigation, but we failed to turn up any leads. During the next week, all hotels in the downtown area were alerted. Sunday, October 23rd, the night manager of the Schaefer Arms near the corner of Broadway and Clay reported that he had been robbed at approximately 3:30 a.m. He confirmed the bandit's description and M.O., but was unable to add anything new. The next morning, October 24th, we had a conference with Chief Brown.
Doesn't sound to me like you're any closer to him than we were 2 weeks ago. What do you got?
Well, not much.
Let's have it.
Description?
Pretty general, isn't it?
Afraid so.
What else?
Well, now he's only worked one area.
Yeah?
All the hotels are within a mile of Pershing Square.
Nothing to keep him from spreading out, is there?
So far, he hasn't used a car.
You figure he pulled these jobs on foot?
Looks that way.
Then he must live downtown somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Anything about the hotels that might give us a tip-off on his next move?
Yeah, they're all small, only one person on duty.
Uh-huh.
We've marked all the possibles here on a map. You want to take a look at it?
Yeah.
Okay, right here. These are the ones he's already hit. Here, over here.
Tight little group?
Yeah. These circles indicate all the other hotels of a similar nature in the downtown area.
Uh-huh. Well, he works on Sundays, huh?
That's right.
What do you got planned for this Sunday?
Well, we'll stake out as many as we can. We've asked Metro to give us a hand. We figure we'll have enough men to cover about, 20 likelies, maybe.
We plan to run the stakes from midnight till 6 a.m. When he hits, it's usually between 2 and 4.
How's it sound to you?
About all we can do.
Yeah.
I want you both to stay on this between now and Sunday, see if you can't pick up a lead somewhere.
We will.
Informant's been able to give you anything?
Nope.
They holding out?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they know who he is.
Yeah, maybe the stakes will work.
Maybe.
Wait a minute. Let me see that map again.
Right here.
Funny. See here?
Yeah.
You said these are the places he's already robbed?
That's right.
All right together. Draw a line from one to the other and you'd have a square.
Yeah.
What's this right in the middle of the square?
It's the Argus Hotel on South Broadway.
That's one he hasn't hit yet.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like your best bet, then.
Yeah, that's the way we figured it.
Who's going to cover it Sunday?
Well, Smith and I thought we'd take it.
That's a coincidence. Just who I was going to suggest.
During the rest of the week, we continued our investigation, but we failed to turn up any additional information about the suspect. A few minutes before midnight on Saturday, October 29th, men from Metro and Robbery Division staked out 22 locations in the downtown area. Sunday, October 30th, 12:05 a.m., Frank and I entered the lobby of the Argus Hotel, and we walked up to the desk.
Sorry, we're full up.
Like to talk to the manager if we can.
I said we're full up.
We're police officers.
Huh?
This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh,
Could we see the manager?
I'm the manager.
You own this hotel?
Me and my husband.
Well, maybe we better talk to him.
Go ahead. If you can find him.
Isn't he here?
Nope.
Would you know where he is?
Nope. Not getting drunk, probably.
I see.
I work nights, he works days. He don't tell me where he goes at night. I don't tell him what I do during the day. That's our arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
It don't make for a real happy marriage, but it keeps us from killing each other.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there somebody who could take over for you here tonight?
Nope.
Now, you're sure your husband didn't say where he was going?
We don't talk.
Oh.
He wants me to know something, he writes me a note, leaves it on the desk, and I do the same for him.
I see.
We ain't exchanged no words for the last 2 years.
Uh-huh.
Saves a lot of wear and tear on the nervous system. He never said nothing worth listening to anyway.
I see.
Well, what do you fellas want?
Well, ma'am, several hotels have been held up downtown lately.
No.
You were warned about it, weren't you?
George was warned, left me a note.
I see. Well, there's a chance he might come here tonight.
If he does, I'm ready for him. Got me a gun. Pistol. Keep in the cash drawer, see?
Yes, ma'am.
I know how to use it, too. He shows up, I'm ready for him.
Is there someplace we could wait in case he does?
You don't have to. I don't need no protection. Told you. I've got a gun.
Yes, ma'am. So's he. Mrs. Argus finally agreed to let us stake out the hotel. She showed us into a small room off the lobby. From there, Frank and I could see anybody who entered. During the next 4 hours, only 2 people requested accommodations. They were both middle-aged men, and neither one of them in any way resembled the suspect's description.
What time you got, Joe?
Say 5:04.
Huh? Latest they ever pulled a job was 3:30.
Yeah.
Maybe he decided to lay off tonight.
Maybe.
Argus Hotel. Who? Oh, yeah. Hey, you guys in there?
Yes, ma'am.
Somebody wants you on the phone.
Okay, I'll be right over.
In the booth.
Yes, ma'am. Friday. No, wait a minute. Okay. What's that address? Yeah, I got it, thanks. Right.
What's up?
Looks like we staked out the wrong places.
Yeah?
All-night cafe on South Main. The owner was held up. He's pretty badly wounded.
Huh?
Sawed-off shotgun. Frank and I drove over to the Joplin Grill at the corner of Main and Vincent Place. We talked to the patrol car officers who had discovered Fred Joplin's body. They told us Joplin was unconscious when they found him. They said that they'd call an ambulance and that he'd been taken to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. We telephoned the hospital and asked them to be notified as soon as the victim was available for questioning. 4:42 a.m., Lieutenant Lee Jones and the crew from the crime lab began their investigation. Frank and I went back to the office. October 30th, 10:17 a.m., Georgia Street reported that Joplin had recovered consciousness. We drove down there and talked to Dr. Sebastian. He said that Joplin was suffering from shock and loss of blood. He also said that Joplin's right shoulder was severely lacerated and that there was a possibility the arm would have to be amputated. 10:46 a.m., we interviewed the victim.
Sat down on the stool and asked for a cup of coffee.
Yes, sir.
I turned around, picked up the Silex, started filling the cup. Time I was finished, he got his gun out. Guess he had it in that bag he's carrying.
Yes, sir.
Told me it was a stick-up. Said to give him the money from the register or he'd shoot me. I didn't say nothing, just stood there kind of staring at him.
Yeah.
He raised up his gun. Shotgun it was.
Yes, sir.
I mean business, mister. That's what he said next. I mean business.
I see.
I still didn't say nothing, just stood there with that cup of coffee in my hand. Start moving, he said. Voice sounded real low and mean. Didn't seem to match his face. Sort of a pleasant-looking fella. Voice was mean, though.
Yeah.
Started gesturing with that shotgun, pointing toward the register. That's when I let fly. With a cup of coffee. Smashed it right into his face.
I see.
Must have given him quite a jolt.
Yes, sir.
Didn't keep him from shooting me, but it sure wrecked his aim some. Leastways, I'm still here. Don't remember nothing after that.
I see.
Sure hit him a good one, though. Them coffee cups ain't the lightest things in the world.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Not to mention the coffee itself. Scalding hot it was. Right here. That's where I belted him. Right in the jaw. Used to be a ball player, you know.
Is that right?
Wasn't a pro exactly, but I had a first-rate pitching arm. Lefty Joplin, that's what they used to call me. Back in Junction City, Kansas it was. Local merchant sponsored our team. Pitched 16 winners one season. Best record in the league.
Yes, yes, very good.
Well, I ain't lost all my technique. Leastways, I sure whacked him with that cup.
Yes, sir.
Doc say anything to you fellas about how I'm doing?
Well, just that you're getting along.
He make up his mind about my right arm yet?
What?
Whether I'm going to lose it or not?
No, sir, he didn't tell us.
Guess in a way I'm kind of lucky.
What?
Being left-handed.
We asked the victim, Fred Joplin, to describe the suspect. The description he gave us tallied with what we already had. 11:17 a.m. Frank and I went back to the office.
I can't figure it out, Joe.
What?
Why he switched from hotels to a cafe.
Well, maybe he tumbled to our stakeouts.
Yeah, I thought sure he'd try the Argus, though. It's the right spot for him. I get it.
Robbery Friday. I see. Yeah. Anything else? Well, give us something to go on anyway. Thank you. Right. Lee Jones in the lab.
What's he got?
Well, Joplin was right. He sure didn't miss with that coffee cup.
They find the pieces?
More than that.
Huh?
Found a broken front tooth. Analysis of the broken tooth revealed that it was part of a lower incisor. From what we learned of the suspect, it seemed likely that he would make an immediate effort to have the tooth replaced. For the next 3 days, Frank and I interviewed dentists in the immediate vicinity of the robberies. Thursday, November 3rd, 3:17 p.m. We questioned Dr. Clinton Potterfield in his office on the second floor of the Marsh building.
Yes, I believe I had such a patient last Monday.
Broken incisor?
Yes, that's right.
Could you tell us what he looked like?
Oh, young man, about 30, nicely dressed, seemed very pleasant.
Did he say what had happened to his tooth?
Yes, he did. Automobile accident.
I see.
He knocked it against the steering wheel. He wanted a new fitting right away.
Yes, sir.
Agreed to make him a temporary as soon as I could. It should be finished tomorrow. He offered to pay me extra if I'd hurry it up. I told him you can't rush a new bridge, even a temporary.
Yes, sir. Did he give you his name and address?
Well, not me personally. My receptionist takes care of those details.
Yes, I understand. Would you mind checking with her?
No, not a bit. Excuse me.
It's about time we got a break.
Oh.
Hey, look out there. Starting to rain.
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah, just like the paper said. It's going to be a wet winter.
Here you are, gentlemen. I had a copy down for you.
Thank you. Philip Seaver.
Yes, that's correct. His address is right there, too.
Well, at least we know one thing now.
What's that?
Why he skipped over to the Argus Hotel.
Yeah?
He lives there. .3:58 p.m. Frank and I drove over to the Argus Hotel and we talked to the owner, George Argus. He told us that Philip Seaver lived on the second floor, room 23. He said that Seaver was a quiet young man who had been staying at the hotel for the past 6 weeks. He also told us that Seaver worked nights and was probably in his room now. We took the elevator up to the second floor.
There it is.
All right.
Yeah.
back
against
there.
the wall there.
What?
Move.
I sure don't know what this is all about.
Oh, he's clean, Joe. All right, turn around.
Okay.
Where's the shotgun?
You guys must be off your rockers.
I'll see what I can turn on. All right.
You got no right to come busting in here.
Yeah.
Now, what would I be doing with the shotgun?
Why don't you tell us?
I never had a gun in my life. Boy, you cops sure make the darndest mistakes. I bet you picked the wrong guy up half the time.
Yeah, sure.
Look, there's nothing in that bureau except my clothes there, fella.
Yeah, what about this?
Well, it's just a satchel, that's all.
It's locked.
Where's the key?
I don't know, I lost it.
Break it open.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good bag.
Not worth anything to you without a key, is it? All right, Siegel, let's go.
How the heck did that get in there?
You don't know.
I told you I didn't.
Yeah.
I never had a shotgun in my life.
Well, you got one now.
Oh, I must have picked up the wrong bag by mistake. Sure, that's what happened.
All right, come on, Siegel.
Okay, I'm coming. Cut your hand?
Be all right.
Look at that.
Huh?
You must have bad ones.
What's that?
Another tooth missing.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 12th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial. Philip Herbert Seaver was tried and convicted of robbery in the first degree, 5 counts, and received sentence as prescribed by law. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not less than 5 years in the state penitentiary. Because of the viciousness of the suspect, it was decided that the terms would run consecutively. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.